Good afternoon and welcome to the day 6 of the 7-day national level capacity building program e-Shodhyatra, Emerging Trends and Technologies in Scholarly Communication, jointly organized by the Institute of Chemical Technology and the VES College of Arts, Science and Commerce. As we proceed with our Shodhyatra, we take on a very important topic of ethics in research today. Research often involves great deal of cooperation and coordination among many different people in different disciplines and institutions for the common social good. Hence, the understanding of ethics is very important. Research ethics poses many questions to the researchers. It mainly encompasses research integrity and publication ethics. Questions on authorship, what is wrong authorship, what are issues like falsification, fabrication of data, plagiarism are central to the understanding of research ethics. Whether self-citation is wrong, whether there is any limit on self-citation, whether using the entire text verbatim and giving a citation, is it correct or is it wrong? Who becomes the first author? Whether it is correct to include anyone else in the team to be an author who has not substantially contributed. These are some of the many questions in the minds of the researchers. Sometimes unethical behavior is unintentional, but it is due to the lack of information or understanding of what exactly is expected. But one may have to face serious consequences due to the unethical behavior. Therefore, it is very important for researchers to be aware and ingrain ethical aspects of research right from the beginning. So for this session, we have Dr. Akhtar Parvez with us. We welcome you, sir, for this session. And before I hand over this session to sir, I would briefly like to introduce Dr. Akhtar Parvez. Dr. Akhtar Parvez holds a PhD degree from the University of Delhi and is currently the university librarian at the Maulana Azad Urdu University at Hyderabad. He is also the nodal officer for all the departmental and 12 satellite campus libraries of the university. Prior to joining the Maulana Azad National Urdu University, he worked as a librarian at the Indian Institute of Management, Indore. Dr. Parvez has about 32 years of professional experience of working in prestigious institutions, both in government and in private sector. These institutions include National Council of Applied Economic Research, the American Center USIS New Delhi, Delnet, India International Center, the ICRA and the IIM Indore. Dr. Parvez has authored and edited 10 books, contributed 20 papers in journals and books, and has delivered more than 200 invited lectures on various issues in the field of library and information services. Dr. Parvez specializes in designing processes in various operational areas of library management and has successfully implemented them in his libraries, leading to staff efficiency and enhancement. He is the managing editor of the Journal of Library Management and is on the editorial board of the journal International E-Journal of Library Science and International Research. He is also on the board of International Journal of Library and Information Science, published by the King Saud University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Dr. Parvez has several awards to his credit, and of some of them being Outstanding Management Librarian by the Association of Indian Management Scholars and Institute of Rural Management, Anand, IRMA. Dr. Parvez is the founder member of Management Libraries Network, ManLibNet. He was also the treasurer of the Indian Library Association for the terms from 2002 to 2004 and from 2004 to 2007. Sir is also on the advisory panel of this conference, that is e-Shodhyatra program. Sir, on behalf of ICT and VES College of Arts, Science and Commerce, we welcome you, and over to you for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. And it is always a pleasure to be with your institution and, of course, Miss Madhavi's institution, because I always believe that, your institution is maybe one of very rare institutions who actually do programs so professionally. And I acknowledge this in my earlier program also. Now I'm acknowledging it again. And the reason why I'm acknowledging it again and again, as I said, it is very rare that, in our profession, we organize programs so professionally that you ask for each and every detail, even if you want to record my presentation, you take my consent. Usually it is not the case, So thank you very much. And it is always a pleasure to be with you once again. And thank you for the generous introduction that you just gave. So I would be speaking on ethics in research publications, and Dr. Meghna, I was actually admitting a lot of people here because somehow I got the control, so I was admitting all those people. So hope now somebody else will take control so that I focus on my.
Yes, sir. Mr. Akash from our team is doing the same.
Okay, Akash Shab, Shivani. Okay, that's done. Okay, so I'll please allow me to share my screen with the participants, and I'm very happy that a lot of faculty members and uh, people from library science background and everybody's here in today's this Shodhyatra. And somebody, I just saw a message. Somebody said this Shodhyatra is so far is excellent. So hope it continues to be excellent even after my session. Okay, so I'll begin my presentation with the first slide. That is, research and publication ethics on which I'll be speaking on. And I'm sure you must have heard a lot of such, presentation in the past, because this is the concept that we have been, reading and listening for the last many years. So I will, try, of course, in this 1 hour, I cannot cover everything, but at the same time, I would like to cover a majority of things which constitute part of this topic. And I would also give some of the references so that, once this program is over, you can see these references whenever you get time. So just to begin this presentation, let me just give a brief, introduction of what research is or what is the purpose. So as you all know that, the purpose of any research is to fill the knowledge gap, and then, whatever research we come with, we disseminate that information either through publishing in journals or in some other scholarly publishing documents. And then, the challenges that we generally face is, of course, to know the research tools. What are the ethics which are to be observed while we do academic writing? How to select the right journal, and what we have seen in the past, in the recent past, that a lot of people, tend to publish in predatory publishing, that publish predatory journals, which are actually, low quality journals. So those journals, if you say, I mean, those are the journals which are actually low quality journals, which does not have anything to do with the with other ethical practices that legitimate journals follow, including peer review, etc. So I will not go into the details, but just to tell you, by what all names these predatory publishing is known is on your screen: fake publishing, fake journals, dubious, scholarly bad faith, low credibility, sham journals, questionable publishing, etc. And there were some lists where these journals were listed, but Bede's list, as you may be aware, that has been removed. So there are other websites like Cables. Then we have some other website like PredaryJournals.com, where you get complete list of these journals. Now, what I wanted to basically say is that uh, that there was an article, published in 2016, which suggested that the publication pressure in India is such, or the culture of publishing is such, that sometimes it leads to publishing in predatory journals or low quality journals, because the quantity is important for us, not the quality, unfortunately. And this is a document which you must refer to. This document is by Committee on Publishing Ethics, uh, and this is a very exhaustive document which explains all these issues related to predatory publishing. And why research is important for academic institution, I'm sure you all know, but let me just still tell you, because it is extension of teaching. And it when you do research, of course, your knowledge is enhanced, which improves your teaching, and we get visibility and recognition, not just of ourselves but of our academic institutions where we are working. And as you all know that the ranking institutions or ranking agencies give a lot of importance or a lot of weightage to research publications, as high as 33% in some of the cases. So but when we see this our international ranking, unfortunately we don't do well, and that has been echoed by a lot of people in the past, including the former president of India, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee. But if you see China, they are doing far better than us. In the previous slide, what I showed you, that our universities started figuring in this list of 1,500 institutions after 600. But here, if you see China, it is 23, 24, so on, and these are public universities. And also, when we see the researchers, how they begin their career, what are the problems we face. I was watching a small video, which said that every year 1.2 million researchers begin their careers in research, and this is a Elsevier study. And this study also says that only 35% stay for more than 5 years, and out of this 35%, only half of these people actually complete their career in research. So which means only about 16, 17 people are actually able to complete their career in research. And this is a 3.5 minutes video. Just let me just play this video for you. I'm sure you will like it. So what this video suggested, in my opinion, is that it is very important for all of us to know what are the research tools, so that we are able to uh, do a research in more effective way. With this, let me just set the agenda for today's discussion. We'll be discussing about publication ethics and academic misconduct. We'll also, discuss what is fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism, what Dr. Meghna just said. And of course, what are the ethics related with the authorship? What is the role of, publisher, editors, peer reviews, and what is the retraction? And we will also briefly discuss the UGC guidelines on promotion of academic integrity. So these are some of the issues that we are going to discuss. Let us first define what ethics is. So ethics is the discipline dealing with what is good and bad and what moral duty and obligation. So basically, ethics is something to do with rightness. I mean, the understanding of what is right and what is wrong, and it is a study of morality. Uh, John Digg, in his book, defined ethics as a study of what are good and bad ends to pursue in life and what it is right and wrong to do in the conduct of life. It is therefore, above all, the author says, a practical discipline. Its primary aim is to determine how one ought to live and what actions one ought to do in the conduct of one's life. But today what we are going to discuss is not ethics in journal, but we'll be discussing academic ethics, or more specifically, research misconduct. So the research misconduct means fabrication, falsification, or plagiarism in proposing, performing, or reviewing research, or in reporting research results. And this definition is given by Office of Research Integrity, United States. Here, they also explain what fabrication, what is falsification, and what plagiarism is. So falsification, so fabrication is making up data or results and recording or reporting them, and falsification means manipulating of the data. So I think there is a thin line, between fabrication and falsification. One is making up of data, and the other is manipulating research data. The third is plagiarism, and this means that it is the appropriation of another person's ideas, processes, results, or words without giving appropriate credit. And all these, definition, as I said, has been given by Office of Research Integrity. And research misconduct is also seen in authorship, simultaneous submission, non-disclosure of conflict of interest, etc., which we'll be discussing in next few minutes. So what is authorship? I think first we should understand what is the definition of author. If you see UGC guidelines, it says author is the one who has intellectual contribution to the research work. And authorship sequence has to be a joint decision of all the authors contributing to a particular research. And this decision, should be taken when you start the research as to who will be the first author or second author, because usually in the beginning of the research, what is the role of one particular author or the other co-authors. So it is always good to have a discussion about the sequence of authorship, so that it does not create any problem in the future. And those problems could be related to plagiarism. Those problems could even be related to academic misconduct, and of course copyright infringement. Then there is another type of authorship, that is or authors who are called ghost authors. And these authors are professional writers who charge something from you, and they write for you, but they do not figure in the list of authors when you come out with a research work. Guest authors, are those authors who are included in your work just to ensure that the publication chances are easier. Okay, and generally, such people have good affiliation or good reputation in the academic field. Now, the gift authors are those who are made as authors just because of their affiliation with a study. Okay, we just wanted to gift it. That affiliation may be a weak affiliation, But if the affiliation to the study is weak, probably one should consider treating them as contributors. And there are different kind of contributors, as you may be aware. I mean, contributors are basically those people who assist in your research. This is a very good document, on defining the role of authors and contributors. This is International Committee of Medical Journals. So my suggestion to you is that you must go and read this document, which tells you about the authorship related issues, and it also tells you what is the definition. In fact, the definition of author can also be seen in the UGC document on anti-plagiarism that we'll be discussing in the last part of this presentation. So now, I thought I'll just tell you about what simultaneous submission is. So simultaneous submissions refers to a case when an author submits his paper to more than one journal. And sometimes, if we do simultaneous submission, there's a possibility that it may lead to duplicate publication of the same article, which is again not the right thing. So I think the right thing would be that you send your article to just one publisher, wait for his response, and once you get a response, or in case your paper is rejected, only then you should go to other publisher. In case the publisher is not responding for a long time, then you can always send an email to the publisher saying that you are no longer interested in getting your article published in their journal, and withdraw that article, so that you are able to submit your article to some other publisher. Even if you for example, you have written an article in English, and tomorrow you write an article in some other language, maybe Hindi or Urdu. So it is a good practice, to inform the publisher that the original article was published in particular language, and this is the translated version of that article, because that is considered to be, a good academic practice. We just discussed about falsification and fabrication of data. I mean, that comes under research fraud. And not just this, images can also be manipulated. And because, the research fraud mainly deals with data, so it is a good practice to keep your data or retain your research data for a reasonable time after it is published. So when we talk of, manipulation of images, you all know that how easy it is to know whether the image is stolen or not. I think in Turnitin, it does not tell you about the images, but there are other ways. So before I go to that slide which I prepared for knowing how images can be identified whether they are plagiarized or not, let me just tell you what salami slicing is. So the slicing of research that would form one meaningful paper into several different papers is called salami publication or salami slicing. Now, in other words, say for example, I have a paper on a particular issue, and I know that I cannot make two paper out of that. And if I still, just for increasing the number of my publications, if I somehow make two papers of that one meaningful paper, that is called salami slicing, and that is another form of academic misconduct. Then, as you all know, the conflict of interest is always a big issue when it comes to academic publishing. So it is always a good practice, to disclose your association in case there is any conflict of interest. And that conflict of interest could be either financial or academic. Say, for example, if I am an editor of a journal, I should abstain myself from publishing in that journal. If I get to review a paper of my own research scholar, maybe it is a good practice to inform the publisher that, look, I am the supervisor of that particular research scholar. So it is up to you whether you want me to review that paper or not. So I think the transparency is very important. And as I said, disclosure of all these things is very, very important, because when you disclose things, then you are doing things in good faith. Then, we come to the most important part of this discussion, that is plagiarism. And I know that you know the basics of what plagiarism means, but still, let me just briefly tell you what plagiarism is. So, the act of using another person's words or ideas without giving credit to that person is plagiarism. Plagiarism is like committing literary theft. And you can imagine, when it is equated with theft, how serious this form of academic misconduct is. And this is the definition which was given by Merriam-Webster's. So plagiarism is cheating and academic dishonesty. And plagiarism is one of the most common types of unethical practices among all kinds of academic misconduct. Plagiarism is one of the most common types of unethical practices or publication misconduct, where an author deliberately uses another's work without permission, credit, or acknowledgement. So, and why I'm saying this, because there was a small study done by Elsevier, and this study was based on the sample of cases reported to Elsevier journals publishing staff in 2012. So if you see this diagram, you find that 46% cases are of plagiarism among all types of academic misconduct, including authorship, conflict of interest, duplicate submission, research fraud, research results misappropriation, review bias, etc. So that is why I thought maybe we should discuss this plagiarism or maybe citation in little details, so that we have clear understanding of this problem. So plagiarism is an act of fraud. It involves both stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterwards. Words and thoughts can also be plagiarized. And plagiarism takes different forms, from literal copying. So literal copying is, when you copy something from some other source as it is without paraphrasing. So whether, it is paraphrasing or it is literal copying, it is very, very important to give citation. So plagiarism can happen accidentally also. That is also called unconscious plagiarism, or in medical terms it is called cryptomnesia. So what does it mean? Basically, sometimes what happens, that there is something in our subconscious and we think that it is our own idea. We know it from our childhood, and we do not uh, uh, take the effort of consulting any literature, and we put the idea in our document as our own idea. So I think we have to be very, very careful when it comes to such kind of academic misconduct, because this plagiarism happening by accident is actually a critical issue. And ignorance of law cannot be an excuse. So whether we do any plagiarism intentionally, or if it happens unintentionally, so I think the punishment would possibly be the same. So the computer programs, statistics, and music can also be plagiarized. So whether you are taking anything as it is from any source, or you are paraphrasing it, it is very, very important that you have to give citations. And when you are taking something as it is, or you also can say it literal copying, make sure that those are in double quotes, so that the reader knows that that presentation of that particular paragraph is not your own idea, it is someone else's idea, and that is why it is important. So this is the slide that I was referring to. So can always go to this website and either copy or upload a image, and then you will know what are the related images. So there are a lot of these days fake news on the basis of some fake images, and the agencies or the companies which do fact check, I mean, this is the application that they generally use. They upload those images, and then they also come to know whether it is a fake or not. So it is my request and advice to all the young professionals who have joined this program, that just don't trust on every WhatsApp what you get. It's important to fact check. Otherwise, there will not be any difference between you and any other professional. So plagiarism is a problem that comes from lack of creativity. Okay, so because you don't have that creative ability, you tend to copy and paste information or data. So some of the examples of plagiarism are listed below. One is show someone else's work as your own, copying words or ideas from someone else's work without giving credit, giving incorrect information about the source, making it impossible to find the source. That is very, very important. Uh, so you know it should not happen that I give a citation where a reader is not able to get hold of the document which I have referred in my research. The next is buying, stealing, or borrowing assignments, experiments, results, etc., using ideas of someone else without crediting the originator, reusing an existing published paper in different journal, including translated articles, which I just said. And then the self plagiarism, this is also called self stealing, or such people are called self stealer. So it is important that we must give citation of our own work. So in case I have published a document in 2016 and I am coming out with a new document today, I must ensure that if I'm using some text or some idea from my previous paper, I must cite my own paper. And it should not happen that I unnecessarily cite just because I want to increase my citations. Next is using or copying so many words or ideas from another source that it makes up the majority of your research work, whether you give credit or not. Okay. And the last two are asking someone else to write for you. I mean, we just discussed about ghost author. So if you ask someone else to write for us, that is, of course, plagiarism. And we had seen in the past that a lot of PhD theses, people were actually hiring professional writers to write their thesis. And that is why, when they appear for interviews, when you ask about their thesis, they will have no idea about, what they have written. And the last is, the paraphrasing existing text of others and present it as yours. So I think we should discuss a little more on this aspect of paraphrasing. So paraphrasing must not change the meaning of the original work or idea. So when I say this, I mean that, it is extremely, extremely important that when we read something or when we want to paraphrase, we must understand what the originator wants to convey. It should not happen that I paraphrase something in a way which completely changes the meaning. You must be aware that there are a lot of applications today on internet where you can simply copy a paragraph and then it gives you a suggested paraphrasing. But I think these are the things we should never trust. uh, why? Because it is like a translation which Google does for English. So I think that is something important which we must understand, that we should paraphrase only when we are sure about the meaning the author wants to convey. So the paraphrasing is not acceptable in the following cases, and I request you to please see it very carefully. Exact phrases from the original source without enclosing them in quotation marks. I mean, that everybody knows. Next is emulate sentence structure when you using different words. And the last is emulate paragraph organization even when using different words or sentence structure. So I think it is quite complex, but once you understand how to do paraphrasing, I'm sure you will not have this problem. And for that, I thought I'll just give you a reference of a website, that is Davidson College Department of Biology. And they have given a statement of plagiarism, and they have also discussed paraphrasing in detail. What is by some example, like this is the original text, this is unacceptable, this is again unacceptable, this is again unacceptable, and this is the acceptable paraphrasing. So I suggest to especially all the science faculty from your university to please see this website. It is quite good. And apart from this, you can also see another very exhaustive document where they have given various examples of, what is original version and what is plagiarized version. And also, they suggest what is the right kind of paraphrasing. So if you do some exercises, there are a lot of exercises given on this particular document. So if you do that, I'm very sure, you will know how paraphrasing is done. Even, when I was writing my PhD long back, PhD thesis, so I also did not know about this concept in so much detail. So those, who are attending this program and who still, want to write something, so I think it'll be a good thing, if they go to this document and learn about this paraphrasing in detail. And most cases of plagiarism can be avoided by citing of sources and citing of relevant sources. That is very, very important. So the acknowledgement of the fact that a particular material has been borrowed and providing complete information of such document to locate the material is essential for ethical writing, and it will actually save you from acquisition of plagiarism or potential plagiarism. So as I said, the citing of relevant source is an important part of any research process. And I always say that you should cite as you write. You should not wait till the end to finish the paper and then you start, citing. I have seen, and I was myself doing it, that I was writing the whole article and then, I was just checking what documents I had referred, and it becomes an extremely, difficult or complex process, because most of the time I forget what I've read or what I've consulted. So it is important that you should cite as you write. So I'm very sure you all may be knowing, what citations are, what is the meaning of references, what is bibliography. So basically, in a layman's language, citation and references contain details of author, title, publisher, publication date, page numbers, URLs, etc. And there are a lot of studies, and I've quoted just one, which suggest that a disproportionate number of errors occur in the reference section, even in some of the most prestigious biomedical journals. And it's not that this is just the one study. There are several other studies which actually tell you that there are a lot of problems when it comes to citations and references. And in digital document, the problem is more complex, because today you access something, tomorrow that URL may not be there. So it is important that we also provide the date of access of that particular document, so that it brings authenticity to what we are referring to. So let us discuss something more on citations and corresponding reference. So what happens when I review some papers, and I'm sure those faculty members or librarians who are attending this program, when they review papers, they must be coming across a situation where the citations and references are not matching. Okay, the citation may be just 10, references may be more, or vice versa. And at times, the spelling in citation will be different, in the reference part it will be different. So we have to be double check all these issues. So citation reference should preferably be chosen from the original source and not from the secondary source. Now, when I say original source, I also mean primary document. So for example, if I want to quote something on, say, exports of commodities of, say, wheat, etc., then I must see the Directorate of Foreign Trade in India, rather than going on the internet and seeing some other website, and cite only what you actually consult. It should not happen that you consult one document and you cite some other document. And citing a source which is not available to the researcher is not right, because it may create problem. And sometimes what happens, and a lot of people ask me, so I have included it in this presentation, that how do we cite something when I see that the original idea has been discussed in some secondary source of information. Say, for example, I have given a example here. So how do if I am writing an article on Ranganathan, and if I want to cite, and if I'm not getting this Ranganathan's document, then and if I happen to read this particular topic or idea in the document which is authored by some Ansari, then what I will do, this is how I should give the citation or reference in my uh, text part, because this is the best idea to do this. Otherwise uh, uh, usually what people do, they tend to cite the original document. And at the same time, it is important to credit the person who made the initial discovery. It should not happen that you just cite Ansari and not Ranganathan in your document. And you should cite all relevant sources which are in your favor or whether they go against you. So selective citation of literature is bad. And why it is bad? Because say for example, if you want to prove a point that a particular vaccine is good, and then you forget to mention about the literature which suggests about its side effects, then it is a problem. Now similarly, in libraries, what we have seen, that when we quote a GFR rule related to stock verification, so what we find, that librarians say that loss of 5 books is permissible as per GFR law, but they forget to say that irrespective of this permissible loss, any book which is costing 1,000, or if it is a rare book, necessary investigation will be done why it got lost. So I think that selective citation of literature is really, really bad. And unnecessary citation of authors' previous work is not ethical, as it may lead to self-plagiarism or self-cite stealing, as I just said. Citing from only a select journal, maybe we may be having some good relation with some of the publishers. If he says that we should cite from that particular journal only, I think that is not the right thing. We should avoid that. And we should always cite from the full article. It should not happen that just on the basis of abstract we cite in our document. We should always cite from the correct version of correct version of the document. There will be a conference article which might have been improved over a few months or weeks and published in a journal. So I think that is important, that we cite the correct version of the document. And we should also be very, very careful when we cite from journals. It should not happen that those journals are retracted titles, or which have already been withdrawn by the publisher. We'll discuss about the retraction a little later. So facts are usually not copyrighted, but at the same time, if there are some facts which are results of some research, then those need to be cited. And if we do not really cite or take necessary permissions, it will be copyright infringement. So there are a lot of standards like APA, etc., which are there to cite and give references. And I'm sure you all know as librarians and faculty members, but we follow a particular standard. But what happens when we are writing in journals? Say if we are writing in APA, there's a possibility when we send this article for publication, the publisher may say that I follow nature standards, so we have to convert. And there are different ways of giving citations when it comes to the types of documents like books, journal articles, etc. So it becomes extremely difficult to remember all these styles. So it is important that we use technology. So in this slide, what you see here is on the left hand side is there are some core areas which UGC document has suggested, that these are the core areas like abstract, summary, hypothesis, observation, results, conclusions, recommendation, where there is zero tolerance when it comes to similarity or plagiarism. But I on the right hand side, I have listed out few more things which can be assigned to technology. So if you assign all these things to the technology, I am sure you will be able to focus more on the left hand side areas and assign all these things of preparing questionnaires, how figures are given in a thesis or article, or what is track change, what is pagination. So though I have listed it out, but my request to you all would be to go home and just see what these things are if you don't know. I am skipping few things. Yeah, this is a slide for a reference organizer mainly. So on my YouTube channel, I have suggested how you should install mainly what all it does. So it will be good if you want to know about how you can best organize your documents. Please go to my YouTube channel and watch this video. Now let us discuss some of the cases of plagiarism in the past. There is a very famous thing in Germany where a minister had to lose his job and also the doctorate. In 2011, there was a vast publication misconduct for an extended period of, say, 6-7 years. So what was happening here is that that author was having, or I would say, creating or manipulating or falsifying lot of data, and then asking some of the other colleagues and students that they should analyze this data, and his name should always be there. And he was a very charismatic guy and everybody used to believe him, but he never shared his data with any of the students. So what he was doing is, I'm sorry, he never shared the source of data, but he was simply sharing the data with all his colleagues and students. And he was such an eminent guy that everybody believed him. Nobody had any doubt. And there were 30 published papers which were ultimately retracted, and these are all were peer reviewed publications. But what important lesson what we should learn is that there was an inquiry committee which recommended that PhD scholars should have two supervisors. Dissertations committee must ascertain that the student collected the data. Data need to remain accessible for 5 years, and manuscripts need to indicate where the data reside and how they can be accessed. So I think these recommendations are really very important. Maybe we can also think of doing this. This something very interesting. I came across just today. Shivraj Singh Chauhan yesterday, he tweeted a poem saying that it is by my wife, but probably he also didn't know. And then someone else, immediately on Twitter said, kindly give credit to me, Shivraj sir. The poem is written by me, and its title is Daddy, not Bauji. So probably Shivraj Singh's wife did not tell him that that poem was not his her own creative work. And then this is a very important case where Springer withdrew an article by 3 Indian scientists on plagiarism charges 14 years after publication of their article. So you can imagine, not that if something is not caught today, it will never be caught. So I think this was caught after 14 years. And in the academic publishing, the withdrawal of research paper is known as paper retraction. And paper retraction means removal of a published article from an academic journal, whether it is print or digital article. A paper is retracted because the validity of the paper is under questions, and papers can either be retracted by authors, by their institutions, by editors. For example, if I write a paper and this paper is published, and I, after publication, realize that there was a mistake, I can always request the publishers to retract that paper, and maybe at a later stage that paper will be uploaded again on their website. And this is a website that is called Retraction Watch. It is a society which does good work, where you can go and find out which all papers have been retracted in a particular area. And but what happens once our papers are retracted, it damages our reputation as a serious researcher. So we have to be very, very careful. The last thing which we want to discuss today is the UGC, Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Education Institutions Regulation. And after this, there was another document very recently of the UGC, that is Good Academic Research Practices. So it is a long document. Maybe if you get time, please read it. And this, was notified, this regulation, in July 2018, and it applies to all faculty, researchers, and staff, and irrespective of the fact whether they are regular faculty or not. So whether they are regular, ad hoc, temporary, everybody is covered in that. And the objective of this regulation is to create awareness about responsible conduct of research and promotion of academic integrity in all kinds of research work that we conduct, including thesis or publications, etc. To establish institutional mechanism through education and training to facilitate, it says to facilitate responsible conduct of research, but somehow some of us actually take this regulation just to punish faculty. I think that should not be the way we should take this regulation. And the regulation objective is, again, it says facilitate responsible conduct of research. And the third objective is to develop system to detect plagiarism, which means, we should have proper systems in place which could detect plagiarism. Now, this is very important, the clause 7 of the UGC regulation, which says that the research work carried out by the student, faculty, research, and staff shall be based on original ideas, which shall include abstract, which we just discussed, when I was saying about core areas. So those core areas are abstract, summary, hypothesis, observations, results, conclusions, and recommendations only, and shall not have any similarities. But at the same time, it says that it shall include common knowledge or coincidental terms up to 14 consecutive words. So common knowledge is, the knowledge which is known to most of the people, for which you don't need really any citation. And when it says 14 consecutive words, it says we should not confuse ourselves with the 14 words which we generally give in Turnitin while evaluating documents. So for Turnitin, 14 words means 14 words from any particular source, but here it very clearly says 14 consecutive words. So I think that distinction we should always understand. So there are other kinds of exclusion also, in UGC regulation, and it is very important for every faculty member and every librarian to understand these exclusions. So what are these exclusions? All quoted work reproduced with all necessary permissions and or attribution. Number one, all references, bibliography, table of content, preface, and acknowledgements. Then it says all generic terms, laws, standard symbols, and standard equations. I'm sure in sciences field there are a lot of occasions when you come across with standard symbols and standard equations, and when you run it in some similarity software, you see that the software has taken as similarity or plagiarism. And let me tell you, these softwares are to detect similarity, not plagiarism. I think that is very, very important. Who can detect plagiarism? I think it is we who can detect plagiarism. Now, when I say we, I mean the subject expert can identify. And all similarities are not plagiarism. Now, just to, by example, how do I make you understand? This is a screenshot of a paper where it was showing that there's a 37% similarity. And these are the breakup. If I go on this URL, I'll actually go to the place from where this particular content has been taken. So here, there are a lot of highlighted text. So in the next slide, what I've done is I've just enlarged this page. And here what you see, categories of information is highlighted, organization is highlighted, Indian Institute of Management is highlighted, Government of India is highlighted, education in the field of management is highlighted. So, these are actually generic terms. And these are not actually plagiarism. This is simply similarity, not plagiarism. And this should be, manually removed by the person who is evaluating the document. And what we do at our university here is that, we have devised a format that is called supervisor's exclusion report. So we get a declaration or certification from the supervisor saying that, these things are not, this is not plagiarism, this can be excluded as per the regulation of 2018. And then we, issue a revised similarity report to the student or faculty. So let us quickly understand, some of the punishment that is there in the UGC regulation. So I'll not go into the details, but briefly tell me, up to 10% there is nothing. It is in case of students like thesis, dissertation, etc. And up to 60%, such registration of such erring students will be, cancelled. And if there is a case where the degree has already been given to the student, then such degree can be put in abeyance for a period as recommended by the head of the institution. Now, in case of faculty publications, there are a lot of other kinds of punishments. Such faculty shall be asked to withdraw manuscript, and there are issues related to the denial of right to increment, not allowing a faculty to enroll research scholars under them. So there are a lot of things which you should go and see in the UGC regulation document. But if there is a repeated plagiarism of level 3, now what is level 3? Level 3 is above 60%. So if there is repeated plagiarism of level 3, such faculty members can be asked to leave the institutions or terminated. There are some practical cases I thought I'll just take up. I still have, I think, 4 or 5 minutes. So can a faculty or staff be punished for plagiarizing if his paper has not been published anywhere? I think yes, because the definition of a script is that even if you send your paper for assessment or opinion, and if the authorities come to know that you have plagiarized, they can take action under this regulation. Just to give you an example, if a faculty member applies for a financial grant for presenting a plagiarized paper outside country, or maybe within the country, and if it is found that his paper is plagiarized, then action can be taken as per UGC regulation. Secondly, can a faculty take a plea that I have published my work with the approval of the vice chancellor? No, because the definition of author in the UGC regulation is someone who actually is a creator of that work, not the vice chancellor. So it is you, the creator of the work, who will be punished, irrespective of the fact whether you have taken approval from anyone or not. There were cases, where faculty said, my book was purchased by Oxford University. How can you punish me that because of plagiarism? But these are different issues. If there is plagiarism, there is plagiarism, irrespective of the fact whether Oxford University purchased your copy or someone else, any other reputed universities. So these are the two panels which look into cases of possible plagiarism. One is called Departmental Academic Integrity Panel, and the other is called Institutional Academic Integrity Panel. And these are the members of such panels. So I will not go into the details of what the difference between what is copyright infringement, what is plagiarism. Maybe some other time we can discuss. But this video will be with you, so you can just go through this and read. So when we go to the the role of editors and reviewers, or say publishers. So editors, of course, they have to have editorial independence. Okay. And the next is they must disclose any conflict of interest if they have with any of their study. They have to maintain confidentiality. They are supposed to get the peer review done. They should check for copyright-related issues and plagiarism. Now, when it comes to reviewers, reviewers must assist in publishing decision by the reviewer, by the review of the paper, and they should help authors in improving. To the extent possible, they should not make any personal critical observation in the review part. The objective should be basically to help or to make the author understand what a good research is. And a reviewer is also supposed to check all citations, references, etc. They should make sure that there is speedy completion of process. They should also maintain confidentiality, editors are also supposed to maintain confidentiality, and they should also, as I earlier said, must disclose any conflict of interest. And publishers, they are supposed to publish promptly. They must take corrective steps when it comes to any kind of academic misconduct, or they have to retract any document. So I think these were some of the in short, some of the duties of the authors, editors, reviewers. There is a document by Elsevier. I have displayed it on your slide, so you can see that. And then there are other MLA document on this. Then there is COPE document. Again, COPE also, that is Committee on Publishing Ethics. And there's Wiley's document which you must see. So I think there are a lot of things. What we did, we also created a document here at our university, and we circulated to our faculty members so that they understand what are the different issues. So I think this is an interesting thing I found in one of the university's website, where they have written honor pledge, what is honor code. And if you get time, please visit this university's page and see. It's quite interesting. So lastly, why we should publish ethically, because I think this is the only way, we can maintain or sustain our reputation as a serious research scholars. So with these, I think I've finished on time. So thank you, organizers, once again. I'll be very happy if there are questions, and if I'm able to answer them, I'll definitely try to answer. If I don't know, I'll tell you, see, I'll get back to you later, but hope I'll be able to answer all your questions. Thank you.
Sir, shall we take up a few questions?
I will be very happy, madam.
One of the first question is, are all ethics for all countries same? Or do different countries have different ethical codes? And who decides the ethics codes?
Okay, I think this ethics is a subject which we should all, I think somebody wants to enter. Can I admit?
Yeah, I'll do that, sir.
Okay.
You can continue on, sir.
Okay. So I think there are, different agencies which I showed you in my presentation also, which develop such kinds of ethics, so academic ethics. So if you want, you can also do it for your university. But I'm very sure if you consult few documents, you will know what is good academic practice. If you read some document, you will, I think, know. And my, request is that it should not happen that we just see the academic ethic, what is given in UGC document. If there is something which can also be borrowed from some other countries, why not? Why we can always do that. So I think ethic is something which probably taught to us from very beginning of our life. And I still remember one very interesting thing which happened with us when I was at IIM Indore. So, at MBA level, we at IIM Indore were teaching ethics. So one of the parents, during orientation of the program, asked the director of the institute, sir, do you think that in these 2 years you'll be able to, inculcate ethics in our child? So the director of the institute, he said, if you could not inculcate those ethics in so many years, then don't expect IIM Indore to do it in just 2 years. So I think this ethics part is, I think it is the foundation of all our, and from childhood, I think we learn it. And there is no problem in borrowing good things from others, irrespective of the fact whether it is from our own country or from others. So there are agencies, like I said, COPE is one which does. COPE has very good document, you must read that. I have shown it in my presentation. So I think I could somehow I tried to answer your question.
Thank you, sir. One more participant wants to know that some PhD scholars or researchers outsource some part of their PhD work, like performing analysis, report writing. Is that a misconduct?
Getting analysis done is not a problem, I feel, as long as you disclose that in your document or thesis, or you include them as contributors. So that is not a problem. But I think writing part, you should avoid outsourcing the writing part. I can understand you may have a language problem. Now I tell you my university case. Ours is a Urdu university. The medium of instruction is Urdu. Every student is supposed to submit his or her PhD in Urdu. But then there are students who have problem, writing thesis in Urdu. They are good in English, so they write in English, and then they get that thesis translated into Urdu by someone else. So I think is fine. But asking someone else to write for you, I think it will be like it may be categorized under ghost authorship. I think that should be avoided to the extent possible.
Thank you, sir.
In continuation to that, there is a question. If we are taking text as it is from a paper and putting our paper with proper citation, is it plagiarism?
No, as long as you put those text in double quotes and give citation, there is no problem. But if you don't put that in double quotes and you copy this paragraph as it is, then it is plagiarism, because the meaning will be conveyed to the reader that it is your own presentation. That you should avoid.
Thank you. Sir, one more question. One participant wants to know that plagiarism percentage can be manually reduced by making some adjustments. So is it really possible? And if yes, are there these plagiarism check softwares totally reliable?
No, human intervention is necessary. These softwares simply give you similarity. Okay, they will not understand whether it is some equation, whether it is a generic term, or how the software will decide unless you feed that data into it. So the software does not tell you plagiarism. Software tells you only similarity. So on the basis of the guidelines that are suggested in the UGC document, you have to exclude such similarities from your document manually using when I say manually, I mean in the software. So that is why, so I said understanding of all the exclusion is essential. If we don't understand the exclusions, then there is a problem. We will not know what is exclusion and what is not, and we may end up excluding something which may be plagiarized text. So I think that understanding has to be clear. But you can't say that uh, this if these softwares are not they are just telling you similarity. And how they tell you similarity, this your content is checked against the content which is available in the repository of that software. You must be knowing about cross check. That cross check is a database of millions of scholarly articles against which your articles are checked on. And not just that, even documents which are in public domain, your content is checked. So if your document is put in a software which has a rich repository, you will obviously get higher percentage. But at the same time, it does not mean that that higher percentage is all plagiarism. That can be similarity. That is why in the beginning itself I made it very clear that similarity is something different from plagiarism, and that can be manually removed. And if you do not remove that intentionally, if you removed some copied material, so again the ethics part has come. So then it is unethical. So I think that the following of ethics is important, whether you exclude anything. And that is the reason why we don't do exclusion at our end. We want faculty to do the get the exclusion and declare that these things have been excluded. But at the same time, when we get that exclusion things from faculty, we also double check. It should not happen that it is against the exclusions defined by UGC, because we have to follow UGC. But yeah, I think one very important thing I wanted to tell you, though the acceptable limit is 10%, but that does not mean that 10% you steal the central idea of some work. Say for example, if it is a fiction, okay, when you write a fiction and you turn it on any software, the similarity may be 9% or 10%. But have you actually stolen the central theme of that fiction, of some other fiction? If that is the case, then even that 10% is not acceptable in my opinion. Yes, I think I tried answering.
Thank you, sir.
There is one question where the researcher is asking, do the research articles for the journals also have to undergo an ethical clearance?
I think it will be a good practice, if there are a lot of universities abroad who have integrity committee. So every document goes to that integrity committee. They check that, they give clearance, and then the document is sent to the publisher. And why it is done, because those institutions which do it, they are very prestigious institutions. They do not want that any anything which goes, anything, should not go from our university which has any amount of, academic misconduct. So that committee ensures that they give clearance. So if there is a committee within the institution, I feel it is a good practice, but at the same time, it should not become a bureaucratic kind of thing, whether, people unnecessarily start creating problems for faculty. So I think there has to be a balance between these two.
There is one question where the participant is saying that if we are taking text as it is from a paper and putting in our paper with proper citation, is it plagiarism?
But if you, no, it depends, how much text you are taking. So, one of the examples was, it should not happen that you take so much from other sources that it makes up your own article. You should have something to report new. Okay, something new you have to report in your research. It should not happen that you take from different things and your paper is made. It should not happen. So I think there should be reasonable amount of citation. There should be reasonable amount of copying. There should not be, substantial copying. To the extent possible, avoid substantial copying. But if there may be some cases where substantial copying is necessary. So if that is the case, it is fine. But unnecessarily, you should not, give more citation just to prove a point.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you mentioned about a suggestion where a PhD should have two supervisors. Here you mean to say a co-supervisor or?
Co-supervisor, basically.
Co-supervisor.
So that, there is a more transparency, that's all. And it happened because of that case of 30 papers, which were actually plagiarized, and the academic misconduct was basically research fraud, that is fabrication and falsification. And, generally it happens when such things happen in universities, then such drastic steps are taken. But maybe, after some time they will again review. Possibly they will have more trust on each and every faculty of their institution.
Yeah. There is one question which says that if you can elaborate on topic of beneficence in ethics.
Beneficence in ethics, huh?
Yeah.
Can he just maybe, I didn't understand what he wants to know. If you can just write in the chat box below. Yes.
Maybe it means gift authorship, I suppose what she means.
Okay, if it is gift authorship, then, I think gift authorship also need to be avoided. I mean, if somebody does not have contribution in your research, why should you, give him gift authorship? I think that is also misconduct. And I thought I'll just tell you, I came across a case where a particular paper was published in a journal by someone else's name, who was actually the legitimate author of that article. And then that faculty's student, copied same article, went to his research supervisor and said that he has written that article and he wanted to publish. So faculty, without checking anything, he just gave go ahead, and that article was published in the same journal after maybe 7-8 years. So that was brought to the notice of that university, and then finally, that faculty was punished. So it should not happen. If somebody is coming us to offer joint authorship, we should accept as it is. I think same goes with the editorship. So if somebody asks you to become editor of a journal, I think you have to be doubly sure about the ethical practices they follow. So I think it should not happen that people just come to us with some offer of joint authorship or editorialship. I think that has to be checked properly before we accept. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
There is one more question. where the participant is asking rephrasing with same meaning is also copying, then how it is not plagiarism?
Then you should, it is not plagiarism because you are giving citation. Okay. And for paraphrasing, my request to you would be, if you simply change the words, that will be plagiarism, even if you cite the source. But if you want to, understand proper paraphrasing, then you must go to those two websites, which I said, to those two documents which I suggested. One was with the Department of Biology, some university, and the other was that document on self-plagiarism and research ethics, etc. And there are about 7-8 pages which discuss about paraphrasing in detail with examples. So I think my suggestion that to everybody would be to just see how paraphrasing is done using that document, because there's no time, so I'll not be able to really tell you about paraphrasing in detail. But those, and even if I tell you, probably you will not be able to understand. It's important that you consult those two documents.
So one more question, if we can take. In writing review articles, if images are copied, is it a plagiarism, and can copyright issues arise out of it?
It all depends, the licensing, the associated with that image. So if you want to put an image from internet, my suggestion would be to, when you go to Google Image or Flickr, you should choose only those images which are license free or copyright free, or which are under Creative Commons licenses. Or in case you want to use some other image which may not be under that Creative Commons licenses or copyright free licensing, in most of the images, in fact, more than 90% of the images, there will be copyright associated with that. Just go through that, whether just by citing the source will do, or you need to take permission. Some images, may be a very creative work of some people. So in such a case, when the work is very creative, you need to take permission from the person who holds the copyright. And in such a case, when you take permission, you may have to pay also. When you take permission, make sure that you completely tell him the scope of work. Say if you want to use that image as a cover in the book, then you have to disclose, because if you say, for example, use it on the cover of your book, he may charge something. But if you just say that I want to use it in the book, he may just give you permission without charging anything or charging less. So I think this is an important thing, and a lot of time we have seen, not just with the images, there's also music, that musics are the pleasure taken from the internet without any permission or say necessary acknowledgement. But wherever you feel that you can make a fair use of that document or image, you can go ahead. But I think that then it will require the understanding of fair use, what fair use is in copyright. I think it is a little complex. It will depend on situation to situation and from image to image.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think we have answered all the questions by the participants.
I did try.
Yes. Thank you very much for very systematically highlighting each and every important point in this very vast topic on research ethics. Sir, you also informed about various important documents or sources from publishers which can be consulted by the participants to have a detailed understanding on this practice. So as you have rightly pointed out that yes, ethics has to be ingrained right from the early stage of research. The examples given by you on retraction were also, very important, because they will always remind the participants about what unethical things can go wrong, and maybe after many years also such kind of things come up in the career of the researcher. So thank you very much for this systematic presentation. I'm sure the participants have benefited immensely from your session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was a great pleasure. Thank you for your invite.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Over to you, Madhvi, for the next session.
Yeah, thank you, Meghna. We move on to our next session of the day, session 9, enhancing research visibility and increasing the impact. Research impact is the effect research has beyond academia. As Barnes puts it, research impact is variously defined but can be summarized as having an effect, benefit, or contribution to economic, social, cultural, and other aspects of lives of citizens in society beyond contributions to academic research. As funding agencies and research institutes have begun to focus more on the return on investment, the emphasis on impact of research has drawn more and more attention. To measure impact, first the researcher needs to enhance the visibility of his or her research. Researchers usually stop the paper journey after receiving acceptance from the journal editor. So research life cycle actually does not end with just paper submission and publication. Publication, in fact, is the beginning of research impact and visibility. Thus, dissemination of research publications have to be proactive. The paper journey continues by dissemination and sharing the paper to increase readership and make it more visible to the broader range of audience. So maximizing the visibility and impact of research is becoming ever more important in academic world with tougher competition and with researchers being constantly evaluated. For instance, publications and citation measures, bibliometrics, are increasingly being used as tools for accessing academic merits and of course for research funding. Every researcher needs to produce high quality research and keep a good record of the publications. There are several things you can do to make your research results more visible and influential apart from producing really good research. So researchers should monitor their publication impact and find the most effective channel for promotion. Most of the academic social networks have analytical tools which allow the researchers to measure the impact of his or her research. Researchers can measure their immediate research impact by using altmetrics. So to guide us on how do we go about enhancing the visibility of research and thus increase the impact, we have with us Dr. Satish Punoli from Advanced Center for Treatment, Research and Education in Cancer, that is ATTRACT Navi Mumbai. On behalf of Institute of Chemical Technology Mumbai and Vivekanand Education Society's College of Arts, Science and Commerce, we welcome Dr. Munoli to the TechWhip supported 7-day national level capacity building program, e-Shodhyatra, Emerging Trends and Technologies in Scholarly Communication. Before handing over to Dr. Munoli, I will introduce you to him in brief. Dr. Satish Munoli is presently heading the library of Advanced Center for Treatment, Research and Education in Cancer, ATTRACT, a research wing of Tata Memorial Center as a librarian since 2003. He is also shouldering the responsibility of science communication and professional education and photography of the center as officer in charge. He has been in this profession for more than 29 years and has served in various libraries such as research, academic, corporate, and industrial libraries since 1991. He did his graduation in science and post-graduation in library and information science from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He did his doctorate degree in LIS from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He is the recipient of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan Gold Medal during 1990 in BLIC at Karnataka University, Dharwad. He is also recipient of Sir Ratan Tata Trust Fellowship during 2009 and recipient of Cunningham Memorial International Fellowship of Medical Library Association, USA during 2011. He has visited various libraries in Australia, Singapore and USA. He is a life member of ISLIC, MLAI, HLAI, BUSLA and many other professional associations. He has more than 30 publications to his credit in national and international journals and presented many papers in national and international conferences. His research interests include identifying and exploring internet information resources, free health online resources, open access initiatives, economic journal subscription models, and development of scientific contents on websites. Study of publication productivity of individual scientists, institutions, and specific domains are his other areas of interest. We welcome you once again, sir, and over to you.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Madhaviji and Dr. Meghnaji, for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to be a part of this e-Shodhyatra, emerging trends and technologies in scholarly communication. It's one of the apt subject at this point of time. I'm very delighted to be a part of this, and in the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to share my thoughts on this, my title of the talk. My screen is visible now?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my talk of the day is enhancing the research visibility and increasing the impact in the existing publishing environment. Agenda of my presentation is I'm just going to touch upon the scholarly communication and a cycle of the scholarly communication and various channels which are being used in the communication of scholarly contents or research articles, and various research metrics which are existing. And I'm just going to cover up on the most popular ones and their basics and some aspects of these matrices, and some of the online metric tools which can be used for research activities. I'm just going to cover up on those, and how to enhance the visibility and why and how one can just go ahead with enhancing the research in the internet environment. I'm just going to touch upon a few aspects of those, and I'm just going to share you some of the research visibility enhancing tools which are available freely as well as on the subscription model. Just going to share on those, and finally I'm just going to summarize the entire presentation. Coming to this point of scholarly communication, it is a process in a system in which research thoughts are they are conceptualized, ideas are created, evaluated by kind of reviewers or experts in a domain, and they are distributed and preserved for the future use. Basically, they are the research thoughts which are generated by the individuals, whether it's in the lab environment or in the kind of ideal research, what you can say, libraries, wherein they just go and find some articles and they just get some new ideas. All these thoughts and practices evolve in getting some new ideas, wherein they just again look for the more and more literature, and they just catch on a particular theme or kind of a concept, wherein they just go for expanding or even just going with some experiment to certain aspects to come out with a kind of a new research thought in the entire the same process. And the publication types, there are various publication types, and basically the traditional or scholarly journals which are publishing the articles are the main what you can say publication types, and even the monographs or thesis, books, conference proceedings, data sets, and visual clips, images, working papers, and so on. And even I am not very sure about how many of you are really aware of, there are some journals which are available in the, what you can say, video clips also. That is Journal of Visualized Experiments is one of the new kind of a journal wherein we never just heard during our courses or even during our studies. These are some new trends which are coming out, and even there are some, what you can say, sources wherein they are publishing the images. And I'm saying in the sense like even the images are reasonably evaluated in the same way how the research articles are evaluated before publishing on the platforms. And publishing channels like journals, online sources, and repositories, these are the publishing channels. And archiving sources to get all these scholarly literature are publishing houses basically wherein the publishers are holding all the scholarly contents in their databases or servers. And of course, the libraries do hold some of the, or subscribe some of the scholarly contents which are directly relevant to the institute activities, and open archives and also some of the repositories or institution repositories also hold the scholarly content. Coming to this scholarly communication cycle, as I said, the creation of a research gets proposed, funded, and reported on when an individual will get an idea on a particular concept or idea, so that he can just take it further in the research environment. And also, when the thoughts are just culminated and they are just being experimented in the labs, and also kind of what I can say, the reports are generated and they are just brought in a kind of a research article format or whatever the format is desired. Accordingly, the draft has been will be just prepared, and it now the entire draft is ready for publication, and the same draft is sent to the reviewers for the evaluation. That academic works are evaluated by for the quality and edited by their peers. In the sense, the experts are reviewing the entire content of about the authenticity as well as its credibility, whether it is going to add on some new knowledge to this word. They will just reasonably think on from multi angles. And then if it is accepted by the peer reviews committee, then it goes for the publication. Again, in the next phase, it gets circulated and disseminated across by the publishers and on various platforms, and also they are preserved for the future use in the publishers' databases, and even they are being reused for the scientific community for next research activity. So this is the cycle wherein it just passes through the 6 phases, right from creation, evaluation, publication, dissemination, preservation, and again reuse. And as I just mentioned, these are the channels wherein the scientific contents are just communicated in the form of articles or research articles, review articles, whether it's editorial or short communication or a correspondence or notes or even book review. All these are kind of scholarly communications which are published in the journals as well as some books. And even conference proceedings also carry the research contents or thoughts of various individual researchers, wherein they will be just presenting their new ideas or kind of experiments which have been conducted in their labs. And in the kind of economics kind of disciplines, wherein the papers are also published as a kind of a working papers on a kind of a platform, and also discussion papers. And preprints and postprints these are the again kind of channels wherein the research publications are made available before the print version as well as after the print version. And also newspapers, newsletters, news media are some of the other channels wherein based on the kind of a content, these contents are published in these kind of channels. Books or even chapters in books or blog posts are also kind of covering some of the scholarly contents and communicated for the wider circulation. And even some of the blog posts are also evaluated before just posting or publishing it on the web media. So any media publishes a research report with a review process is a kind of a what I can say authentic channel for scientific communication or scholarly communication. Then coming to where to publish. If you look at the kind of a present scenario in the internet environment, there are plenty of publication avenues and opportunities. And it is very difficult to identify any source for publishing or even how to just approach the publisher or even the association for publishing. There are plenty of what I can say challenges comes in front of the authors. So it is normally advised whenever you are just selecting a particular source or a journal or a kind of a, what I can say, the book publisher or something. So reasonably you have to just check the authenticity of the publisher or reputation of the publisher, whether he is really established publisher in the industry or the association is well established and well known in the national and international scenario. So reasonably you have to just evaluate on all these aspects before communicating your draft to the publisher. And also while just sending any draft or manuscript to the journal, you have to just reasonably check the editorial team and their affiliation. They are affiliated to the genuine or kind of legitimate institutes or real international recognized associations. So all these matters when you just go for sending any draft for a scientific publication. And also you have to just look at the kind of journal or source, whether these sources are indexed in the national and international databases. So here in the picture you can see some of the well-known resources like PubMed is publications in the medical literature, which is one of the online database, I would say, in the health science or medical science literature, wherein it is a kind of what I can say standard source of indexing for or searching any medical or health science literature for any scientist or even the clinical scientist. So it is always good to go for ensuring the selected journal is listed in this kind of a standard authentic online database or indexing database. Similarly, this PubMed Central is again another product of this NCBI, comes under the it is integrated with the PubMed. And Scopus and Clarivate or Web of Science, these are the commercial databases. And Index Copernicus or EBSCO, Embase, these are all some commercial databases. And Google Scholar is a kind of open source, what I can say, indexing platform wherein it is just indexing and retrieving all the literature and scientific literature that is available in the internet environment. And also reasonably you have to just ensure if you are affiliated to the kind of a UGC institutes or universities. UGC also has recognized a kind of a list of what you can say journals under the consortium of academics and research ethics. They have listed various journals from several domains. So it is, I would say that whoever is affiliated to any university body or college associated to university, it is advised for them to just look at the journal, whether it is listed in the UGC care list, and then they can just send the draft or communication for publication. And also, I would say that in this internet environment, there are plenty of predatory journals are coming up, and one has to be very cautious while just selecting any journal. And it is very difficult to just even identify kind of a genuine journal or a fake journal or predatory journal. So it is over a period of time only we'll just come to know about how to identify an authentic journal and even how to identify the predatory journal or fake journal. So normally in case of fake journals, they will not have a kind of a proper contact details, and their editorial details or editorial team members also will be fake. They will just catch on some images from some eminent scientists, and they just what you can say add on some names to them and also affiliation of the international institutes, and it is practically difficult for anyone to identify the authenticity of these kind of editorial team. In that case, you have to reasonably go to the details of the individual, what they have mentioned on the website, and you can just reasonably go to the institute website and you can see whether they have been listed in the institute web pages or no. So this is one of the ways. Otherwise, there are many other ways are there wherein one can just identify the predatory journals. And also one more that Jeffrey Bales list of predatory journals or fake journals, it is there. So one can just go through that list also. I would say that again, still some of the journals which are listed in the Jeffrey Bales list are appearing in some of the national and international databases also. It is a bit difficult to just judge at a single go. It's over a period of time only one will have a kind of a command on identifying the predatory journals with experience. Coming to this research metrics, what are the research metrics? So in general, I would say these are the indicators used across publishing industry and scientific community to moderately measure the performance of journal, article, author, or institution quantitatively. So these are the figures or numbers wherein they will just reasonably give some fair idea as an indicator about the quality of that particular journal or article, or the status or kind of a rank of an author in the publishing domain. And these are basically computed by using some formula and published by various publishing agencies. And most of these metrics or indicators are published by the private or corporate publishing agencies. And basically, the publishers are behind all these, bringing out these metrics. And as I said, that is, it gives a fair and idea on the status of that particular or quality of that particular source, and also it gives us some multidimensional view for assessing the value of published research. Many times we hear, who has cited my paper? Or this particular journal, Nature, has an impact factor so and so. And this particular article published in this journal has received so many citations. And H index of this particular scientist is so and so. This recent article, all the predatory prey, has received so many online attentions. What exactly they mean? Quite often we all hear about these factors or these concepts while just discussion. But what exactly they mean and where we need to find them? So all these articles or journals or citations and reputations, they all go hand in hand, and they just are integrated to each other. So any particular article, when it is getting published in a particular journal, then only there is a possibility of getting it cited. And when the citation number goes in up the ladder or takes a good number of citations, then the reputation also goes higher in the direction. So these are all integrated, what you can say, internally. Articles, journals, citations, and reputation, they all go hand in hand at the back end. In general, there are basically in the academic environment, these are the most popular metrics: journal metrics, article level metrics, and author metrics. So coming to the this journal impact factor, this particular what I can say formula has been devised by Eugene Garfield in the year 1955 to identify core journals for managing the Leica collection. Eugene Garfield is basically a library scientist, and who developed this particular formula in the year 1955 to identify the core journals in his own library during those years. And reasonably, it measures or indicates that reflects average number of citations to articles published in a journal. We'll go in detail about the formula, how it is just being used, and covers research articles and reviews. This particular, while identifying the journal impact factor from this source wherein it is being published, that is journal citation report, they are just covering the research articles and reviews only for coming out with this impact factor. And it reasonably assists in assessing the journal performance. And it is published every year, and earlier it was published from the Institute of Scientific Information, and later Thomson Reuters started publishing, and now at this present time, it is being published by the Clarivate as a journal citation report. So it is published once in a year. This is the article wherein in the year 1955, Professor Eugene Garfield published first time citation indexes for science in the journal Science. It is one of the landmark paper wherein the entire metrics, various factors and new metrics have been evolved after this particular thought started in 1955. Now coming to the calculation of this journal impact factor. It's basically a window of 3 years, and if you look at this particular years for a particular journal, say for example, journal A has published several issues in the year 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So if you need to really calculate the impact factor of the journal A for the year 19, the calculation goes in this way. The number of citations received in the year 2019 for the citable documents or publications. What are those documents? These are the articles and reviews published in these 2 years. In that way it goes. Number of citations divided by total number of citable documents gives the impact factor of this particular journal A. In that way, this particular formula is being formulated. And this JCR also comes out with another factor, 5-year impact factor. It's a modified version of the same journal impact factor, wherein it will just cover the 5 years. So this is journal impact factor is basically kind of a calculating the window of 3 years. And also, though it is what you can say, giving the impact factor of 2019, the journal citation report gets published in the year or next year in the month of June. So reasonably, it will take a time to compute all the citations received in this particular year for the articles published in these 2 years of the same journal, and the report is generated in the month of June, July. So this is the way in which how the journal impact factor is calculated. And the same formula, I'm just going to present it in the kind of figures. For example, journal factor of impact factor of journal A, for example, citations in 2019 to items published in year 2017 65 plus 2018 39. So totally 104 citations are received for the items which are published in the same year 2017 and 18. That is total 64. So 104 by 64 is 1.625 is the journal impact factor of that particular journal in the year 2019. That way it is being calculated. This particular list of journals gives a fair idea on the top, what you can say, impact factor journals published in the science domain. So CA Cancer Journal for clinicians impact factor is 292.27. You may get surprised. This is one of the, what you can say, journal wherein it gets the highest number of citations, and wherein the second ranked journal has an impact factor of 55 or below all these. The Nature Reviews, Molecular Cell Biology, Chemical Reviews, Nature Science. So all these are having 55 or less than. Why this is only this particular journal is getting so much of citations for the articles published in the this particular journal, in the sense is like it is every year publishing one cancer statistics as a kind of an important article every year in the month of Jan. So this is one of the source for most of the clinicians in the cancer research or cancer biology across the world, wherein they just refer and use and cite this particular article invariably throughout the year. So naturally, it gets highest number of citations for that particular cancer statistics article. So the formula gives a kind of impact factor of this highest missing figure. Coming to this another matrix, site score. it is basically a kind of a formula developed by the Elsevier in the year 2016. And also, it is also a kind of a calculation similar to the journal impact factor. It reflects average number of citations to articles published in a journal for a period of 4 years. In case of this impact factor, journal impact factor of Clarivate Analytics, the window period is 3 years. And here, in case of this site score, it is 4 years. The scope of this particular calculation for the items covered in that particular journal, it covers research articles, conference papers, and book chapters. Where in case of that a journal impact factor, it is articles and reviews only it covers. So the scope is slightly better and bigger in case of this site scope. And it assists in again it assists in assessing the journal performance and published every year by Scopus. This is the way in which how this site score is being calculated, whereas it is covering all the 4 years, including the 4th year or 2019, I would say. The number of citations received in the year 2019 for all the publications that are published in the 16, 17, 18, and 19. So in that way, it computes. So the window period is 4 years, whereas in case of journal impact factor, it is 3 years. It counts the citations received for the citable items published in the previous 4 years. And site score tracker gives a monthly updates of citations. Apart from this yearly site score, it also updates the status of the site score on a monthly basis, and they just coin it as a site score tracker. And again, the Elsevier has come out with one more metrics, or kind of came out with a nomenclature of source normalized impact per paper. In case of the previous metrics, citations of particular articles published in the 2 or 3 years papers are just considered irrespective of from which domain the citations are received. But in case of this source normalized impact per paper, only they have identified a set of what you can say journals in a particular discipline, and the citations received in those discipline or journals only are considered for computing this source normalized impact per paper. Again, these are only for the importance for the academic reasons. Otherwise, the most common or popular what you can say matrices are citations, impact factor, and the site score or H index, I would say. And this is one of the source wherein you can just identify the what you can say reasonable what you can say ranking or score or reputation of a particular journal. If you just allow me, I'll just show you the source. Yeah, is it visible? Hello? Yeah, can you see that SJR journal and country ranking site now?
No, sir. We are able to see your PPT only.
Oh, just a minute. No, I think I'm not really getting it. Yeah, you can just very much refer this online source to reasonably get the idea of various indicators of that particular journal, where it gets ranked, and it also giving some idea on quartile rankings also, as well as number of citations that get received and H index, and how the citation pattern or a trend is happening in the last few years. So it's a kind of an interesting online tool wherein you can just use it for identifying the good journal for your publication. Coming to this H index. Again, this is a new kind of a matrix which has been devised in the year 2005 by physicist J.E. Hirsch. Basically, this paper has appeared in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in the year 2005. It got a lot of attention and interest by the entire scientific community after looking at this particular H index. Basically, the author is proposing index H is defined as a number of papers with a citation number more than or equal to H as a useful index to characterize the scientific output of a researcher. We'll just go in detail about how this H index is being calculated. So basically, as I said, it's a formula again devised by a physicist, J.E. Hirsch, and he named it as a H index. And it basically designed to identify the author level metric or kind of a rank of a particular individual in a particular domain. And it measures both the productivity and citation impact of publications of a scientist or a scholar. It includes all the scholarly publication of that particular scientist and assist in assessing the author's research performance. This is a kind of a formula and image wherein he has used a graphical image wherein in the y-axis you will find the citations, and in the x-axis he has just put the publications in the what you can say decreasing order of their citations. Wherein exactly it is just wherein the citations and papers are just bisecting in the 45-degree angle. This particular point is considered as a H index. Or to simplify this technical mathematical formula, I would say that the list of all the papers of an individual scientist, they have to be listed in a order, and that order should be in the descending order of citations the articles received. And also you have to just give the serial numbers to those papers what you are just listing in the descending order of citations, and wherein the serial number and the number of citations intercept, so that particular value is H index. In this particular example, a particular scientist has published so many papers, but at least 7 of his papers received 7 or more number of citations. If you look at this particular list, all these top 7 articles have received more than 7 citations. So this H index of this particular author is 7. So in this way, this particular index has been just devised to help to the scientific community to know the what I can say the quality or kind of value of scientific contributions the scientists have made. This is also one of the kind of an indicator in the scholarly communication. Coming to altmetrics. Altmetrics, again, it's a kind of what I can say, the concept conceived by one young scientist in the library science, Jason Prime, in the year 2010. And basically, it's a kind of a collation or combining all the what I can say the mentions in the social media or kind of sharing of the thoughts in the various social media by the scientific community. All these are captured and computed and given a kind of a score. And they also have a scoring mechanism for each item which gets attention in various social media tools. Again, these are complementary to traditional citation-based metrics. So these are the very basic concept label altmetrics is it is alternative to metrics. So it is again a measurement of attention received for an article in the social media shared through various online networking tools, like whether it's a Twitter or a blog post or YouTube channels or news. So various social media channels are covered in calculating or even collating the mentions which are what do you say mentioned in these kind of media. So this include all types of scholarly publications and assist again in assessing the article influence, how much it is getting influenced in the scientific community. In case of most of these traditional citation metrics, it takes years together to get attention. But in case of this art metrics, since the mentions or even the sharing of the contents are happening in the real time or immediately in the through the social media, so this particular concept captures the attentions received in the social media on a real time basis, wherein they are just capturing all these sharing of the thoughts amongst the scientific peers, and they are just computing and coming out with a kind of a number which indicates the kind of attention that particular article has received in the scientific community. So this is a kind of a donut which has been just developed by, again, the product name also is Altmetrics only. The concept, it is used the concept only for their product name, Altmetrics. And if you look at this particular donut, it has a multicolors. Each color indicates a particular social media. In case of policy documents, they are using a purple, and red color is being used for the news, and also blue for the Twitter, and again dark red for research highlights, and some kind of a brown color for Google Plus, and LinkedIn also has a brighter blue color. And likewise, they have just identified various colors for capturing the social, what you can say, mentions circulating in the social media. So this particular, the amount of color in the donut represents the social media source in which it has received the attention. If you just look at this donuts, just yeah, this particular figure which is coming in the center is a computation of all these social media sharing by various scientific community are computed and collated as well as, and given as a kind of a figure at the center. It indicates the number of what I can say, the individuals or kind of attention it has received in the social media. So it goes in a kind of a real-time basis. As soon as the article is published, immediately and available in the internet media, scientists start sharing the article or links or even the DOIs to their colleagues in the scientific community, and this arithmetic tool starts counting all these kind of sharings in the internet, and also they just come out with the kind of figures in this donut. So this a lot of mainstream media coverage. This donut has a more of a red in color, so this particular article has received more attention through the mainstream media. And in case of this, it has a lot of what you can say, most of its attention from the blogs. Again, in case of this, a lot of attention has been just communicated through the Twitter. So these are the colors wherein it reasonably indicates immediately which is the media wherein the scientific community has used for sharing the scientific content. So this is one of the latest, what you can say, the metrics which is being widely used amongst the scientific community, and even the publishers also have accepted this concept, and wherein they have integrated this concept in many of their journal platforms as well as a publishing platform. And this particular online tool also is available separately as a kind of a product, and it needs definitely a subscription. Once you just have a subscription of this particular source, we'll just come to know which are the highly mentioned or articles got attention in the social media. You will come to know about all these in that particular online tool. So you can also search that particular by default. It shows a kind of articles that are getting a high, or you can say, attention in the social media by default. And also it has a various filters and the search mechanisms at the backend for searching the domain-wise or author-wise or journal-wise, country-wise. It has a plenty of options to search the various attention received in various internet media channels. So this is one of the, again, interesting new concept which evolved in the year 2010. And yes, it is getting popularity year by year. Coming to the various tools, Web of Science is one of the oldest, what I can say, tool which has come out to share the number of citations the articles have received. And in the year 2006 or so, the Scopus has come into the picture. And Indian Citation Index, again, it came in the year 2009 or 10. I'm not very sure about the involvement of this citation index. And also it is similarly based on the Scopus and the Web of Science model only, this Indian Citation Index has been just developed. Of course, you are aware of about this Google Scholar, and Microsoft Academic is another online database wherein you can get the citations of papers. And REPEC, Dimensions, Research ID, and another online tool, Hurston's Publish or Perish, which are a bit of free in what you can say, free online tools where you can just reasonably find the citations of papers which are being published in the scientific domains. These are some of the screenshots wherein since every online database, for example, I would say this Web of Science has a coverage of say around 12,000 journals, and Scopus has more than 26,000 of journals, and Indian Citation Index covers basically the Indian journals, and there is no clear-cut mention about the scope of this Google Scholar journals, how many are being covered. So since the sources are varying for capturing the citations, the citation figure also varies from platform to platform. For example, I just searched for citations to identify the citations received for an article and index to quantify an individual scientific research output, that is J. Hirsch paper. In the Google Scholar, it has shown me the 10,476 papers. Whereas in case of this Microsoft Academic, it is showing 10,559 citations. And in case of this Dimensions, it is showing 4,800. So based on the coverage or scope of the online database, how many journals they are covering, the citations value also differ. So one has to be reasonably, what you can say, be alert on even selecting the source, and also it is in any of the academic what you can say submissions, whenever you are just submitting the CVs along with the list of all the publications what you have just published with the citations, and if you are just mentioning the source of what you can say citations you have just mentioned, it makes a sense. So even the senior scientific faculty also are aware, and also at times they also immediately may just check, cross-check whether the individual person has just given the number of citations properly or not. So you have to be very cautious in just mentioning the citations whenever you're just communicating to the evaluators or even the funding agency, or even sometimes to the what we can say publishers community, while just being part of this editorial team also. Another tool, as I mentioned, Hurston's Publish or Perish is also one of the most popular and free online tool, wherein it one can very much download and use this tool to identify the citations, and also reasonably it has just improved over a period of time with various options to search the databases from various what I can say sources at the back end, like you can search through the only through the PubMed or only through the Google Scholar or Prof. In that way, they have just added some additional features into the online tool. And this is one of the interesting, what you can say, free online tool. One can very much download and very much search various articles, whether by author-wise or publication name-wise, or even the titles in the word. And even it gives all the metrics also at the besides this particular list of journals, as H index, G index, likewise. And also one has to be a bit very cautious while just checking. For example, if I'm just searching for an articles of an scientist for example, Sudeep Gupta. So this system or online tool will not identify the scientist. Sudeep Gupta, what I'm just searching, it will search for the same. It will just look its own artificial intelligence and look for the terms Sudeep and Gupta. So Sudeep Gupta, maybe hundreds of authors are there. So it will list out all the authors' publications of name Sudeep Gupta. So it may not be the, what you can say, all the publications may not be the that particular Sudeep Gupta's publications. So even in that case, one has to be a bit cautious while going through the publications. One can see this checkbox wherein you can just uncheck the publication wherein the article is not belongs to that particular author. Normally, this particular tool is being used for knowing the citations of individual or own publication citations. So that time, if, for example, Sudeep Gupta is appearing, and if some, he's basically, I know he's coming from a medical science background, and one more Sudeep Gupta is publishing, and the article is, title is appearing, it is from the social science. That time, the person who is looking at this particular list has to be reasonably give kind of attention on such aspects, and one has to uncheck such publications to get the accurate figure. So all these figures are automatically calculated by checking and unchecking this particular that square box. Coming to this research visibility, why and how. Yes, when you are just coming out with a research, if it is visible, then only it adds on the value. Otherwise, if you are just publishing and keeping it in a file, it will not carry any value. So it's a kind of what I can say, common practice, or kind of one should always go for enhancing its visibility. So enhances putting that particular article in various ways and means in the public domain. It enhances the possibility of research collaborations, and it supports building the subject domain for the particular author. And also funding agencies also will come forward to fund the projects by looking at the articles, and if they are visible, then only they will get attention. Otherwise, the funding agency also will not come to know unless the author is just communicating to the funding agency. And also they have the cross mechanism in place. Even if you are sending a list of publication, naturally they will just again cross verify about the authenticity of all those publications, what you are just sharing and communicating to the funding agencies. So increase the citations and research impact. So if your article is visible or available in the open access platform, then there are more chances that you may get a citations. Otherwise, if that full text article is not available, so then there are less chances of getting it cited. So simultaneously, it gets a recognition of a research contribution, and having a visible article, it helps policymakers to take a decision for the society at large. And of course, elevation in the status is another, what I can say, prime element why the research article should be visible. And how to just make or enhance the visibility of your research publications. So one of the first and foremost, what I can say, point I would mention here is you can register your entire profile on the ORCID, that is Open Researcher Contribution ID. It is a kind of a unique number it just provides, wherein this particular number gives or catches the articles published by you and you only, irrespective of in which association or organization or institution you just keep on moving like. So this particular individual ID, it sounds like a kind of other ID, wherein individual authors in the scientific community is identified by this particular ORCID ID. So even creating institute instances on IRINS, it will help in enhancing or supporting the visibility of the scientific contributions. And at the back end also, it creates a kind of a Vidwan profile of that particular scientist. Consider suitable journal for publishing your research. So it is also one of the important elements wherein you have to be very cautious in identifying and selecting the journal of your scientific contributions. Because many of the peer reviews or editorial team are also aware that the value of a particular article carries only when it is published in an authentic or genuine journal, not the fake or predicted journal. And always actively engage in sharing your research in the social media. Automatically, as I mentioned, this Altmetrics captures sharing of articles happening in the social media platforms. And promote your research in conferences. This is also one of the way of what you can say, promoting your research in conferences. Share your research wherever it is appropriate. Whenever any scientist or author is interested in an article, you can just very much share your articles to the authors so that they can refer to elevate science, as well as simultaneously your publication also gets cited, wherein your overall number of citations of your articles also will go in a higher direction. So update your online profiles. So nowadays plenty of online platforms are there wherein you can just upload all your scientific activities by creating a profile. So you can just upload your scientific profiles in various online platforms. Be online in this virtual world is what you can say one of the best method of being active in the scientific community and for promoting your research. So this is one of the profile what I have just captured from IRINS. It reasonably gives the profile of an individual scientist and his affiliation and expertise and experiences and the publications. Down this particular screen, you will get all the list of publications and number of citations received for publications, and it captures the entire scientific profile of a particular individual scientist. So it's the initiation of the InflipNet in Ahmedabad. So any college or university affiliated to UGC can very much take a part in this particular IRIMS to generate the instance of the institute. So it is at this point of time, it is totally free, and you can very much log into this InflipNet IRIMS to see various profiles which are already just generated. ORCID is another, what you can say, platform wherein it captures all the publication of individual scientists. As I just mentioned, this particular ORCID ID is a unique ID, wherein in the international scenario also this ORCID ID number is just being considered as one of the standard number for identifying an author and his contributions. Again, the same author is reflecting in the LinkedIn platform, wherein again this is one more platform for publishing the scientific profile of an individual. This also one more of this. And also Google Scholar, you can see it is also automatically, once you just create a profile, automatically it captures all the publications. Also it reasonably gives a H index, I-10 index, number of citations received, and list of all the publications published by an individual. So I-10 index I did not mention in my previous slides. I-10 index is nothing but a kind of index wherein at least the number of publications received at least 10 or above. So in case of this, overall, from the overall publications, this particular scientist, Arvind Ingle, has received more than 10 citations for his 41 articles. And from the year 2015, 32. So this is also one more indicator to identify immediately that the H index is so and so, but how many papers he has received at at least 10 or above. In that way, this particular I-10 index provides you the kind of indicator. ResearchGate is another platform wherein again it is just covering all the publications and citations. So these are some of the social media platforms wherein one can just very much publish the scientific profiles of individual researcher or academician to showcase the scientific activity, and also once you are just creating the profiles, automatically it start capturing the publications and the citations. And at any point of time, you can just capture the link of that scientific profile for any of your academic endeavors. So to summarize my presentation, publishing research in a journal is an integral part of a researcher. And quality research and methods will always get good recognition, citations, and status. Selecting a suitable journal or channel is a critical in research endeavor. So one has to be very cautious in publishing any scientific, what I can say, contribution. Definitely, it will add on a value if you are just identifying a good impact factor journal or a highly reputed journal for recognizing your scientific contribution. Use a conference platforms for presenting and promoting the research findings is another way of promoting your research. Be active in social media and promote your research. So in the present internet environment, most of the users or academicians are very much always checking the scientific new findings or papers through the social media. So I would advise that you also be active in the social media in sharing the science and research publication. Quality research and citations will eliminate your research and influence in recognizing contributions. So finally, I would say focus on the quality research with integrity, rest will follow. So this, with this I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much, Meghnaji and Madhaviji, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on this metrics in this wonderful platform of this e-Shodhyatra. I am ready to take any questions if there are.
Yes, sir. Thank you. One of the participants actually wants the explanation of H index once again in short. Exactly what H index.
Okay. I'll just bring slide. Yeah. So if you look at this particular right side table, for example, an author has published 10 publications, and all these 10 publications have received some citations. I will not figure out how many number of citations. At least they have received some citations. A person has to arrange the articles in the descending order of the citations received. So in case of this, forget about this particular what I can say, the section papers. First, you have to arrange the articles in the descending order of the citations. Once you are arranging the articles in the descending order, then you give the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that way. So wherein the number of citations and the serial number, they are matching. So that particular point or this particular serial number becomes that H index. So in this particular graph, at the paper number 7, again I am saying the articles are arranged in the descending order of the citations, and then the serial numbers are given. At the number of 7, this particular 7th article has got a citations of 8, but 8th article has got a citations of 4. So this particular number and this particular number, they are matching or nearing. So you have to just consider at least H number of articles have received H or more citations. If you look at this particular statement by Harsh, H number of articles or some number of articles have received those many citations or more this particular point wherein the number of serial number as well as the number of citations are matching or figuring more, this particular number becomes the H index. I don't know whether I am just able to just convince the participants. Hello, not hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, there is a next question and it is quite interesting.
Yeah.
The participant is asking, if I am starting out as a researcher and I have no accomplishment as such on my research profile, such as citations, etc., should I still create an online public profile, though it appears to be a bit embarrassing?
Why one should have an embarrassing situation? You can create a profile. You can just very much mention your various interesting area, wherein by having an interesting research interest also is one of the, what you can say, element wherein the other authors can just come out to share a kind of a research with you, or they may just collaborate with your interest.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, you mentioned IRINS.
Yeah.
And once a researcher makes a profile on IRINS, will it automatically fetch your research publications to do the research to update? Huh?
As per my understanding, the InfibNet is not allowing or creating any scientific profiles of an individual if any individual is approaching. If the librarian of the institute is approaching to create a kind of institute instance, so then they will create the institute instance wherein you have to just provide all the details of the they will just come out with a kind of Excel sheet wherein you have to just fill in all the details, that is a number of all the faculty or scientific community and with their designation and department they are associated with, and some additional details are there. So if you just submit all the details, they will just fed the data in their system, and they basically use the Crossref as a kind of a platform to fetch the associated articles of all those scientific community, and they just create an instance of every individual along with the citations. So once it is done, automatically start catching all the publications on that particular platform. So as per my understanding, individual researcher cannot approach the IRINS. Maybe the institute librarians or the institute heads may just approach the IRINS to create those institute instances.
Thank you, sir. Meghna, you're on mute actually.
Yeah, sir, can you please explain the utility of the ORCID profiles for individuals and why it would be good to have ORCID profiles?
Yeah, as I just mentioned, a kind of an author, for example, Sudeep Gupta. There are plenty of Sudeep Guptas are there. So if you are just getting one kind of a unique number, just like an Aadhaar number. So Aadhaar number will be there through and throughout, a unique for an individual. In a similar way, this ORCID ID also will be a kind of a unique ID or a number to recognize a scientist. So whatever the publications of that particular scientist associated with number, only those publications will be added to the profile of that particular scientist. Otherwise, if the ORCID ID is not there, for example, same one Sudeep Gupta has, say for example, has 10 publications. Another Sudeep Gupta has another 10 publications. Third Sudeep Gupta has another 100 publications. So the addition of all these will be added to all the three Sudeep Guptas. So just to what you can say, avoid all this kind of unusual or kind of unwanted data. So it identifies the very unique publications of that particular Sudeep Gupta. So this ORCID ID will assist in identifying the publication of only that particular Sudhir Gupta who has published that particular article, his article. So it will basically avoid the ambiguity of identifying authors' publications, I would say.
Okay, there's one more question, sir.
Yeah.
Can data sets be created from tweets, forums, and blogs and be used in our research work? Do these data need to be cited in our research paper? And the same, yes, sir.
As of now, as per my knowledge, these are the kind of what I can say attentions or scores or figures wherein it will just give a fair idea how many have reasonably shared this particular article in the social media. Not necessarily all those who have shared, they have cited that article. It is a kind of a one more what I can say indicator. It's alternative to the main metrics. So I have not seen, to my knowledge so far, that anyone is just really just using the altmetric data also in their CV. But reasonably, again, it is a kind of a dynamic, and it's what I can say. It's a kind of a live activity wherein every now and then it keeps on changing the figure. So I have not seen anyone really using the altmetric data or data set also in presenting their what do you say scientific profile.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any more questions, Meghna?
Yeah, one question, sir. So
Yeah.
these altmetrics and the other research metrics, are they now really very well accepted in the academic circles?
Yes, they are very much. As I just even earlier said, most popular ones. So any scientist, young scientist or senior scientist, the very first one comes is a number of publications. That is one indicator, and number of citations to those publications. That is another indicator, and the number of journals in which these publications are published and how many citations they got. And the final one is the altmetrics. Altmetrics again, though it is very much being used in the publishing community as well as it is being referred, and also it is one of the what I can say indicator. I would say if any particular article has a kind of altmetric score of say around 10,000, and another article which has a altmetric score of say around 7. So normally, if you look at these figures, the article which has got an altmetric score of 10,000 has some weightage. That is the reason the scientific community have shared this particular article in the scientific community. So this is one kind of an indication where it indicates it has some weightage. But in case of article which has received only 7 score, compared to the 10,000, it has a less circulation, but it doesn't mean that the article score which has a 7 is not having a much of a quality. So you have to just use that indicator only to evaluate and only to reasonably have a fair idea whether it has a kind of a weightage or not.
Yes. Yes, I think we have answered. No, there is one more question which has just come.
Yeah.
Does the H index of an author increase if the data sets are being cited? Or H index are only for research papers or an article?
It is basically computation of the citations, not the data sets. And I'm not really getting the data sets, what exactly the participant mean. Data set in the sense, I just wanted to have a clarity on the data set, the use of data set, because I am understanding that data set is kind of what I can say mentions or sharing of some of the articles in the social media. That is a kind of a set of a data. I'm understanding it.
Yeah, but I think the participant wants to say about those social media sharing.
Yeah, at this point of time, that H index is associated only with the citations, not with the arithmetic score. So irrespective of, suppose, for example, H index is say 10, and an author has arithmetic score of several thousands in number, in nowhere that arithmetic score will influence the H index. This is basically alternative to the citation metrics.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir. I think we have almost answered all the questions.
Yeah, if any kind of another question which I am not really able to answer, they can very much just send me a mail so that I'll be happy to just respond.
Sure, sir, sure. Thank you so much. So we thank you very much, sir, for firstly accepting our invitation and delivering your expert talk and giving your valuable guidance to our participants in enhancing their research visibility and impact. The presentation was very, very systematic, starting with how, as a researcher, your reputation begins with the journal you choose for publication. So choose the appropriate publication to detailed understanding of the research metrics like the impact factor, site score, SNP to H index and alt metrics. All the tools discussed in your presentations, I think, would be explored further by our researchers and hopefully used successfully. Along with the commercial tools, you also covered open source software tools, and hence using these tools will be definitely possible for our participants since there is no paywall barrier. Also, social media platforms were discussed, which would prove very helpful for our participants. And thank you for almost answering all the questions that came up during the discussion. Our heartfelt thanks to you for such an effective session. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I also congratulate both of you just for organizing this wonderful event of e-Shodhyatra, which is very interesting for the young researchers to take on many new thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. What do you think?
Our next session is a practical session on the use of software Urkund. Urkund is a plagiarism detection software which is now used by almost all the universities in India. So it would be very interesting for us to see how reports are generated and what are the possibilities, what are the filters that can be used in Urkund, and how we can actually understand the process by which we check the plagiarism or the similarity index in the particular paper. So for that, we have today Ms. Preeti Rathi with us, who represents the organization eGalactic. She's a product trainer, and eGalactic is the only software company which has licensed Urkund software for the entire country. So we welcome you, Ms. Preeti, for this session on Urkund. Over to you. Yeah. Madam, you need to unmute yourself, please.
Hello. Ma'am, is my voice audible now?
Yes, yes, it is.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Meghna ma'am and Madhuri ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of e-Shodhyatra. And it's a privilege to be here to be able to take you all through Urkund. I feel extremely privileged to be a part of this session. And with your due permission, ma'am, can we share the screen and should we start on with the presentation?
Yes, yes, you can.
Ma'am, is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be taking you through Urkund, and we would be starting with a brief introduction about eGalactic. eGalactic has more than 12 years of experience in this field, And the basic goal is to assist the institutes to enhance the quality of education. And the products that we offer are being used by more than 1,500 universities and institutes in India and more than 10,000 institutes globally across 100 plus countries. Basically, we offer products in 4 domains. The first one is a plagiarism detection system by the name Urkund. The second is a thesis management system known as SkyPro. The third is the area of business simulation games, whereby we offer MarkStrat and the business strategy game. And last but not the least is the area of learning management system, whereby we have Microsoft Teams. So moving ahead, let's discuss Urkund. Urkund as a product is being used by more than 5,000 customers in more than 80 countries. And a glimpse of few of the customers who are using Urkund can be seen here on the left part of the slide. At the same time, Urkund can be integrated with any learning management system. So a few of the learning management system with which Urkund is generally integrated, we can have a look here. As you are aware, Urkund has been rolled out by eGalactic and InflibNet to all the universities and CFTIs in India from 1st of September 2019 under the e-Shodhyatra program, which is an initiative of MHRD Government of India. We feel extremely privileged to be associated with this project, and this was rolled out by Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development, Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal sir, on Saturday, 21st of September 2019. For more details, you could visit pds.inflibnet.ac.in/index.php, or you could log on to www.egalactic.in. Let me now take you through the unique features of Urkund. The first is monitoring with Urkund is an easy task. Before the creation of the accounts for the faculty members, the initial step is to create organization level. So Urkund enables us to create organization level. That means on the basis of the departments or on the basis of the subjects, we can create organization level such that you can keep a track on the number of submissions done by each organization level. At the same time, we can also ensure that the product is being used uniformly across the entire institution. So this is how, like up to 2 levels of hierarchy, we can create organization level before creation of the faculty accounts. At the same time, under the e-Shodhyatra model, individual faculty accounts can be created such that the students can submit the document directly to the faculty members, and hence post the assignment, the research work and the project work, the content could be available with the faculty members for reference. The third is the students submit the documents directly to the faculty members through the student account. So as per the directions and the e-Shodhyatra program, the research scholars can be provided with the submitter access such that they can directly send their documents to the faculty members. This way, the students are also able to keep a track on the number of submissions or on the submissions which they have done to individual faculty members. Urkund as a system finds true plagiarism and avoids false positive report. So the system avoids false positives, and that's actually a good thing because none of the faculty members are interested in going through a report that has a lot of false positives, because a false positive report clutters the report to such an extent that it becomes meaningless to use Urkund. And hence the system finds true plagiarism report because a false positive report could make the report become meaningless, and it would also not make sense using Urkund. At the same time, it's a time-consuming thing, and moreover, the students could be wrongly accused of plagiarizing because of false positive reports. Hence, the system fights true plagiarism. The Urkund system also supports multiple Indian languages. So over 30 languages are being supported, like Hindi, Sanskrit, Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Gujarati, Marathi, Urdu, etc. The only thing that we need to keep in mind while uploading a document in a regional languages, that regional language documents need to be uploaded in Unicode compliant font. So in case if you want to upload, if you want to check the similarity for a regional language document, please ensure that the document is being uploaded in Unicode compliant font such that the system is able to read it and also the report is being generated. At the same time, we are GDPR 2018 compliant. It means that our data, that your data is yours and is secured. We also the focus is to improve the quality of education. Hence, we sell it to institutions and to universities only. We do not sell it to ghostwriters or to students, because ghostwriting is a serious issue at the universities. But since Urkund is not for sale to individuals or to ghostwriters, hence ghostwriters find it difficult to provide the similarity score along with the contract essay to students of those universities which are using Urkund. So this is the reason why we do not sell it to individual, we sell it to institutions as well as the universities. Now let me take you and let's discuss as to how is Urkund an easy tool to use. So basically in this slide we are able to see there are two characters. One is a submitter and the other is a receiver. As the name suggests, submitter is the person who can submit the document and receiver is the person who can receive the similarity report. So as per directions under the Shodhyatra program, the research scholars can be provided with the submitter access, and the submitters can only submit the document. They cannot view the analysis report. At the same time, for the faculty members, for research supervisors, and for the guides, we can create the receiver account, and under the receiver account, the faculties would be able to upload the document as well as would be able to view the report. So the submitter submits the document. The moment he has submitted the document, he would receive a system generated confirmation that a particular document has been uploaded. Later on, once the report has been generated, again, he or she would receive an email stating that the report is ready, and that mail contains a link using which we can access the analysis report. So Urkund model enables that all faculties can have individual account. They can be provided with receiver access, and hence the students can submit the document directly to the faculty members, achieving the purpose of addressing plagiarism. Moving ahead, let us discuss in detail the steps of using Urkund. We would be discussing the receiver registration process, the submitter registration process. At the same time, we would also talk about the modes by which we access Urkund, document submission, how to read and understand an Urkund report, and how to manage multiple submissions. So let's get started and discuss the faculty registration process. Basically, the faculty registration process is divided into two parts. The first is that a request needs to be sent to the Urkund coordinator for registering someone as an Urkund receiver. The moment the Urkund coordinator creates an account for the concerned faculty, he or she would receive an email from noreply@urkund.se with the subject "Welcome to Urkund." The moment the faculty has and in the mail that the faculty receives here, this is a mail that is received by the faculty from noreply@urkund.se, and in this mail, here I'm able to see enclosed within this box is a unique analysis address. Basically, any document that we intend to check has to be emailed as an attached file to this particular analysis address only. Now let's understand an analysis address. Analysis address is a unique ID that is being created for each and every faculty member that is registered onto the system. And through this analysis address, the system actually recognizes the concerned faculty member. And this analysis address is extremely important because any document that you want to upload has to be sent as an attached file to this particular analysis address only. Now, this analysis address is connected to the registered email, and hence reports, once they are ready, would be sent to this particular analysis to the registered email ID. And apart from this, each user also has a personal web-based inbox where he or she can receive the Urkund reports. So in order to use the inbox, we need to be activating it via the link which is given here. So once I click onto this link, I'm taken to the next page whereby I need to enter my name, password. I'll retype my password and select a language. Once I accept the terms of service and click on create, I would get a notification that the registration process has been completed and Urkun account has been configured for us. So this is how the registration process is being completed. The first step is the creation of the accounts by the concerned faculty, Urkun coordinator, and the second step is the activation of the account, after which the account gets configured and one can start using Urkun. Now let's log on to Urkun. Let's have a look at the receiver portal. So here for that, we would be logging on to urkun.com. This is the official Urkun page in which right top side, there's a login prompt. Once I click onto this login, I'm taken to the next page whereby there's a web app option. So after you have clicked onto this web app option, the system would take you to a new page where I'm supposed to enter my username and password. So here goes my username and password. And once I click onto login, the system would be taking me to my receiver portal. So this is how the portal looks like. In this portal, left top side, I'm able to see the analysis address that has been generated for me. And right top side, there's a link to upload the documents. Now scrolling down, I would be able to see percentage sign here in different boxes, and this percentage signifies percentage copied found in the uploaded document, and this percentage can range anything between 0% to 100%. 0% signifies that no part of the document has been copied from any source, and 100% signifies that the entire document has been copied from some source. Just beside this, we would have the document reference number. Any document that we upload onto the system would be provided with a unique document reference number. And this document reference number is specifically useful in those cases when we are trying to coordinate with the support team regarding any query in any document. In that case, we would request you to provide us with the document reference number. Followed by this, we have name of the document, size of the document, number of words. We would have the sender details as well as the document log, that is the date and time of submission. So all these details are visible here in the receiver portal. Now moving back to the PPT here, we would be talking about the submitter registration process. So the submitter registration process is also the same as the receiver registration process. Here also a request needs to be sent to the university or institute coordinator for registering someone as an Urkun submitter. The moment the coordinator registers someone as a submitter, he or she would receive an email from noreply@urkun.se with the subject account creation invitation. And in this mail that we receive, there's a link in blue. And once I click onto this link, I'm taken to the next page whereby I'm supposed to enter a few details like email name, username, password, etc. And once I click on create, I would get a notification that the registration process has been completed and Urkun account has been configured for you. Kindly be noted that this link which is visible here in this mail, that was sent from noreply@urkun.se. This link is valid only for 96 hours. So in case if you are unable to activate the link within the stipulated time, kindly send a request to the Urkun coordinator of your institution or university or to the support team at support@egalactic.in, and a new link would be sent to you. So this is how we can register someone as a receiver or as a submitter. Now moving ahead and discussing the submitter the submitter portal. So the process to access the submitter portal is the same. We have logged on to urkun.com, clicked on login, selected web app, and after that we have entered the details like my username and my password. So the system would be taking me to my submitter portal. So here in this portal, left top side, we are able to see the email ID because an analysis address is not being generated for the submitter, and right top side there's a link to upload the document. And here, scrolling down, I'm able to see the document reference number, name, size, number of words, submitter details, as well as the document log. The percentage sign is not visible as the report is not being shared with the submitter. So this is how the submitter portals looks like. The next is the modes by which we can access Urkun. There are three ways by which we can access Urkun. The first is accessing Urkun using your email. The second is accessing Urkun using the web portal. And the third would be accessing Urkun using the learning management system. So the first one, accessing Urkun using our email. Our registered email account is linked to our unique analysis address. So any document that we want to upload has to be sent as an attached file to this particular analysis address only. The moment we have uploaded a particular document, we would receive a system generated confirmation that a particular document has been uploaded. Later on, once the report has been generated, again, we would receive an email stating that the report is ready, and that mail contains a link using which we can access the analysis report. The second way to access Urkun is using the web portal. So we could also log in through the web portal, as we just discussed in the previous slide. We could log on to the receiver portal or to the submitter portal, and here we could have we would be able to access Urkun. The third way to access Urkun is using the learning management system. So since Urkun can be integrated with any learning management system, the third way to access Urkun would be using the learning management system. Now, the next is the ways by which we can upload a particular document. So there are three ways by which we upload a particular document. The first is upload using our email. The second is upload using the portal. And the third is upload using the learning management system. Excuse me. So the first one, the process to upload the document using our email. And this process is similar to sending a mail to a particular person. The only difference is that instead of the email ID, we have typed in the analysis address. So we need to type in the analysis address. After that, we would be entering in the subject and the message. So the system allows us to enter any subject and any message of our choice. And then we can scroll down, and the next step would be to attach the document for similarity check. And once we have attached the document for similarity, the next step would be to click on to send. And the moment we click on to send, document would be uploaded using our email ID. So the process is similar to sending a mail. The only difference being that instead of the analysis address, instead of the email ID, we've typed in the analysis address. So the moment we click on to send, document would be uploaded using our email. And immediately after we have uploaded the document, we would receive a system generated confirmation that a particular document has been uploaded. And later on, once the report has been generated, again, we receive a mail stating that the report is ready, and that mail contains a link using which we can access the analysis report. So this is how we can upload the document using our email. Kindly be noted that document upload using our email can be done only through the registered email ID of the submitter or the receiver within the same university or the institute. If we use some other email ID that has not been registered either as a submitter or as a receiver within the same university or the institute, in that case, the system would not allow us to upload the document. So this is the first way by which we have uploaded the document. The second way to upload the document is upload using the receiver portal or the submitter portal. So in the portal, right top side, there's a link to upload the documents. Once I click onto this link, I'm taken to the next page. And in this page also, the first detail that I need to enter would be a valid analysis address. So here, since I've been registered as a receiver, hence I can select the analysis address from the drop-down menu. However, if you've been registered as a submitter, in that case, we need to be typing in the analysis address of the concerned faculty to whom we wish to upload the document. And if we are typing in, we need to be doubly sure that the analysis address entered is correct, because that's the first prerequisite. And once we've entered the analysis address, this tick sign, if it appears, it signifies that the analysis address entered was correct. So this tick sign is an important thing, because unless and until we get this tick sign, it means that the analysis address entered is incorrect. After that, we would be typing in the subject and the message, and then we would scroll down, and here I would be able to see all the valid file extensions that are being supported by Urkun, doc, SXW, TIFF, PDF, TXT, RTF, HTML, HTM, WPS, XLS, PPT, ODT, docx, PPTX, ODP, ODS, pages, XLSX, PS, HWP, and zip files are all being supported. So all I need to do is simply attach the document for similarity, and the moment I have attached the document for similarity, I would be able to see that the submit button is enabled. So kindly be noted that submit button is enabled only when we have entered a valid analysis address as well as attached the document for similarity. So in case if either of these prerequisites are not met, then in that case, the submit button would not be enabled. So the first is entering a valid analysis address, and the second is attaching the document for similarity. And the moment I click on to submit, I would get a notification like this that the document has been uploaded. And once I click on to OK, that means that the process has been completed. And immediately, if I check my email inbox, I would be able to see that a particular document has been uploaded, and hence I would receive a system generated confirmation that a particular document was uploaded. And in this confirmation email, again, I would receive a mail stating that in this confirmation email, there would be a link, and using that link, I would be able to exempt my document from being a future source. So immediately after you have uploaded a document, you would receive a system generated confirmation. Moreover, in this portal also, you would be able to see the details of the uploaded document. So this is how the document can be uploaded using the portal. It looks like the system is a little slow today, hence it's not reflecting. So once we have uploaded a document successfully, a user will receive a notification that a particular document has been uploaded. Moreover, the document would appear in the inbox. Details like document reference number, name of the document, size, number of words, submitter details, all of these would be visible. However, if these details are not visible, we need to check whether the document has been uploaded successfully or not, or whether the user has activated the account or not. The third way by which we upload a particular document is upload using the learning management system. So since Urkun can be integrated with any LMS, the third way by which we upload a document would be using the learning management system. Now let's move ahead and discuss the Urkun report. There are two options available to view the report. The first is the report link is received on the receiver's registered email address from report@analysis.urkunda.com. So this is the mail that we receive, and in this mail at the bottom part, there's a link to open up the report. And once I click onto this link, a new page would open up. Kindly disable the pop-up blocker if the new page does not open up. Now, the second way by which we can have a look at the report is by using the receiver portal. So in the receiver portal, once the report is ready, we would be able to see the percentage sign, and this percentage sign signifies that the report has been generated. Once we click onto this percentage sign, we would be able to see the report being opened up in a new page. So these are the two ways by which we can have a look at the report. Now, moving ahead and discussing an Urkun report in detail. So this is a sample report, and in this report, the first option that we are able to see is the document overview bar. And in this bar, we use this bar to have a quick look at the findings in the document. So once we click on a particular finding, we would get details about that specific match or warning. So this particular bar helps us to have a quick look at the findings in the document. And there are certain parts being highlighted in orange and others in blue. Those parts which were highlighted in orange signify that some kind of matching text has been found, and the other parts being highlighted in blue signify that some kind of warning has been generated. So by warning, we mean that something abnormal has been found in the document. Maybe some by this we mean that something abnormal has been found in the document. Maybe some different script or writing system has been found, or maybe some abnormally longer words have been used in the document. So in those cases, we would be able to we will be able to see that the system generates a warning that is being highlighted in blue. So once I click on any of the findings, I would get details about the specific match or warning, and I have the option to investigate it further in the findings view. So this is how it looks like. When I click on a particular finding in the document overview bar, I would be able to see a snippet of the matching text or an explanation of the warning, and we can go straight to view details in order to see the finding, or I can continue to go through all the matches to have a quick overview. Now the next one is the findings tab. It tells us how many findings and navigate are there in this particular document. So we can go to the findings view, whereby we can investigate the detected findings closely side by side with the matching source text. So here we distinguish between matching text and warnings, and hence we can reach them separately. However, if you do not want to have a look at the matching text or the warnings, you could click onto this tab, view the entire document tab. And once we click here, we would be able to see the entire document with all the findings highlighted here. Now, the next one is so here we have view the entire document tab. Once I click here, I would be able to see the complete report. Now the next are the similarity bars. So here we are able to see two similarities. The first one is this assignment's aggregated similarity percentage, and the second one is this receiver's average similarity. That is the average similarity of all the submitted documents to this particular receiver. Now, the next option that we are able to see is the submission details, whereby we would see all the necessary information about the document, such as name of the submitter, file name, date and time of submission, submission ID, message, etc. All the details regarding the submission would be visible here in this page. The next is the quick options tab, whereby we have something called reset report. The second is export to PDF, and the third is open guide. So this arrow guide here that we are able to see, this arrow button would reset the report to its original state. For example, in a report, if you had excluded certain findings and now you wanted the report to be reloaded back to its original form, in that case, you could click onto reset report tab. And once we click here, the report would be resetted back to its original state. The second one is export the analysis as a PDF and download it onto your system. So this one is the second option. In case if we wanted to export the analysis as a PDF and download it onto our system, we could click onto this downward arrow key. And once we click here, we would be able to convert the document in a PDF and save it onto our system. The third one is the question mark sign. And here, this would open up the quick start guide in a new tab for us. After this, the first tab here on the top right, top left is the findings tab. So we had three tabs: findings tab, sources tab, and whole document. So the first one, findings tab. Under this, we have show in text option, types. We had side-by-side boxes, sources tab, and we also had profile menu. So under this side-by-side, under this findings tab, the first one is type of findings. Here we can navigate between different findings types. That is matching text, warnings, as well as the bin. So the first one is matching text. In case if you wanted to see all the matching part of the document, we could click onto this tab. The second is the warnings icon, which will take us through the warnings. And the third one is bin. This is the place where the removed findings would end up. Now, the next one is the show in text option or the toggle option. So here we find the option to highlight quotes, highlight brackets, as well as to see the detailed text differences. So the first one, enabling quotes, if we enable this option, we would be able to see all those parts of the document that were put within quotes. The second one is the brackets tab, whereby if this option is enabled, all those parts of the document that were put within brackets would be highlighted with a blue color. And the third one is detailed text difference, which shows us the exact difference between the uploaded document and the matching text, because it highlights the differences in the matching source text. Those words which are highlighted with yellow signify that they have been substituted or changed, and the other words which have been highlighted in red signify that they have been deleted. So the exact difference between the submitted text and the matching source text can be viewed if we enable this option, show detailed text differences. The next is the side-by-side box, which shows us submitted text versus matching text. So here we would be able to see the text matches shown highlighted with the submitted student text to left and and text from matching source to the right. So left side we have our uploaded work, and right side we have matching source text. That means content of the source from where similarity was found. And here, apart from the overall similarity percentage, we would also be able to see individual similarity percentage for each specific block of text. So 98% signifies that 98% of similarity for this particular block of text has been found. The next one is the include or exclude findings, and it helps us to inactivate the findings in the analysis. So going through a sample report here. So this is a sample report, and in this report, if we see, if we think that a particular part of the document or maybe a particular matching text need not have been included, maybe it was put within quotes or it was cited properly, it was a reference, we have the option to uncheck this toggle button. So if you uncheck this toggle button, what happens is that this particular matching block of text would no longer affect the document's aggregated similarity percentage, and the similarity score would be recalculated. Earlier, the similarity percentage was 66%. It has come down to 63% because we have unchecked this toggle button, and by unchecking it, we have instructed the system not to compare the similarity from this particular block of text. So this is how we can exclude a particular findings. Now the next one is the source info and the link, which is the link to the source document or website. This is a link to the original source, and the symbol next to it will tell you what type of source it was. W means website, SA means student assignment, J means journal, and T means textbook. We also have something called alternative sources. Basically, when a document is being scanned for similarity against several sources, the system would show the most important source based on the ranking of our algorithm. It would display the most important source. However, the other overlapping matches would be kept as overlapping as alternative sources. So these alternative sources are actually the sources which contain similarity to this particular block of text. So here, if we wanted to see the alternative matching text, we could click onto alternative sources under the source link. So here we have the source link. Just below this, we have alternative sources link, or else you can also click onto alternative source by clicking under the hidden menu under the three dots, whereby there's a view alternative option. So once I click here, I would be taken to the next page, whereby the system would show me the details regarding the alternative sources. So alternative matches or alternative sources are bundled in what we call level, because an overlap could be matches from several sources. So we can expand the level to see which sources are in it, and we can choose which one to include instead. So here, or we can expand these levels, and once we expand these levels, then we would be able to see which sources are in it, and hence we would be able to have a look at the alternative sources. And once I select a particular alternative source, click on save and continue, I would be able to see that the document is now being scanned against the alternative source, and the primary source has been sent to the bin. Now the next one is the exempted sources. As I was discussing, when we upload a particular document, we would receive a system generated confirmation that a particular document has been uploaded, and in that confirmation email there's a link. Once I click onto this link, I can exempt my document. So many a times we have seen that on the right side, we are not able to see the matching source text. Instead, it is written the document has been exempted as a viewable source in the Urkun archive by the author. So in case, if it so happens that you are not able to see the matching source text, it means that the document was exempted. So as I discussed in the confirmation email, there is a link to exempt the document. And once we have exempted the document, next time if some kind of similarity is found in someone else's document with respect to my document, in that case, in the concerned person's report, not even a particular line or a particular paragraph of my work would be visible, because I had exempted my document. Now the next one is the findings bin. So as I discussed, once we include the alternative sources in the report, the primary source would end up in the bin. And here we can click on to restore in case if you wish to bring it back to the analysis. The next one is the profile menu, and under this profile menu we have the option to enable quotes, to enable brackets, to show detailed text differences. We also have the option to export report, share report, change language, etc. So all these details are visible here in the profile menu. Now the next is the sources tab, and this is the second tab, the first one being the findings tab. And in the sources tab we would find the list of all the original sources that we found during the analysis. So here we would be able to see the sources in which we found text similarities with the submitted document. So the list of all the sources is here in the sources tab. And under the sources tab, the first one is the source list, which shows the list of the identified sources in a separate view. We could view the original source by clicking on any one of them in the list. Now, the second one is the source legend. It tells us what type of source it is. So W means website, SA means student assignment. It means those documents which have been submitted to Urkun and are saved in the Urkun's archive. T means textbook, and J means journal. The next one is the location in document, and this bar would tell us where did matches to specific source occur in the document. We could click on a highlight to display a summary of the match, and we can head directly to the findings details. Now, the next is the alternative sources, whereby we are able to see the alternative sources. So basically, when an analyzed text displays similarity with several sources, the system would display the most relevant source based on the ranking of our algorithm. However, if we wanted to see the alternative overlapping sources, that means other sources which contain similarity to this particular block of text, we could click onto this arrow to expand the container and to view more details. So again, taking you through this report, and in this report, there's a sources tab whereby I'm able to see the primary source. In case if I wanted to see the other sources, I could click onto this arrow key. And once I click here, this would be expanded. I'm able to see the primary source as well as other alternative sources. In case if I did not want the system to compare the document against the primary source due to any reason, I could uncheck this primary source tab here. And once I uncheck the primary source, the system would ask me something like this: since you choose to exclude the primary source and its corresponding matches, we can choose to include the alternative overlapping matches from other source instead. So here we need to be selecting the alternative overlapping matches. We can expand the container and we can see the levels, the sources which are there in these alternative sources. We could select a particular level, and once I select a particular level and click on save and continue, the system would now not compare the document against the primary source. Instead, it would compare the document against the alternative sources, and hence similarity score would be recalculated from 63%. It has come down to 40%. So this is how we can uncheck a primary source in case if we did not want the document to be compared against the primary sources. Now, moving back here, so there's also one more way by which we can omit the primary source. We could click or we could switch on to alternative source by using the hidden menu under the 3 dots also. Now, the next one is add a missing source. If you believe that there's a source missing, in that case, you could place the URL of that source in the input field, and a request to index it would be sent to us. The next one is the entire document tab, whereby we are able to see the submitted document in its entirety here. All the findings would be highlighted in the text here, allowing us to do a side-by-side comparison. And this is how it looks here. There are finding highlights, and the colored parts of the document indicate matching text or warnings. There are findings icon, and they can help us to view the matching source text side by side. And here you would be able to see the entire submitted document with findings highlighted in the text. Then we also have the highlighted findings, whereby the highlights would be seen, and if they are highlighted in orange, it signifies that this is a matching text, and if it is highlighted in purple, it means that it is a warning. So this is how with the help of these different colors, we are able to see the side-by-side comparison. Now, the last tab here is that, so this is how, if we click on any of these icons, we would be able to compare the student text with the source text. So here we are able to do side-by-side comparison. So when we click on a finding icon, the matching source text or the warning explanation, this is how it would be. It would look here. We are able to see side-by-side comparison. At this particular point of time, we should enable the option show detailed text differences so that we don't miss anything important. And here we are able to do a side-by-side comparison, and here we would like all the details regarding the matching text as well as content as available in that particular matching source text would be visible to you. And we can move on to the next one by clicking on either the side arrows here or the arrows on the keyboard. So this way we would be able to go through the analysis report. Now the next one and the last one in fact is how do we manage multiple submissions. So let's understand the Urkun mechanism. Basically, when a document is being uploaded onto Urkun, it is saved onto the repository by default. So next time, if the modified version of the document is being uploaded, in that case, the system compares the document with the previously uploaded work, and hence the system would give a higher similarity percentage for the subsequent upload. And that in our language we term as a duplicate report, or we can say multiple submission. So let's understand the ways by which we can handle multiple submissions. The first one is submission from submitter account to the receiver account in order to avoid duplicate. So let's understand it with this slide. When a document is submitted from the same submitter to the same receiver, then the document would not be compared with the earlier versions of the documents. For example, here, a particular document was submitted, let's say by submitter 1 to receiver 1. This was the first submission. The second time, again, he uploaded a particular document from submitter 1 account to the same receiver account. In that case, the second document would not be compared with the previously uploaded version or the previous document, because the system then understands that it is the student's own work. So if we want this, that the document should not be compared with the previously uploaded work, we should ensure that the documents have been uploaded from the same submitter account to the same receiver account. However, if some other, if say the second document is being uploaded from submitter 1 account to a different receiver account, in that case, document 2 would be compared to document 1. So in case if we do not want the document to be compared with the previously uploaded versions of the document, we need to ensure that documents are being uploaded from the same submitter account to the same receiver account. And hence this way we can avoid comparison with the previously uploaded. So this way we can avoid the duplicate issue. The second way by which we handle this is remove sources of earlier document submission. As we just saw in this particular report, let's say in this report only, or maybe I'll take you through another report here, which is here in this portal. Let's say this is 100% report, because the document 10 minutes. The document was compared with the previously uploaded work, and now I do not want the document to be compared with the previously uploaded work. So hence what can be done is, here I would see in the sources tab, I would be able to see my previously uploaded document being reflected as a source. So the primary source is actually my previously uploaded document. Now that I do not want the document to be compared with the previously uploaded work, the subject matter expert can uncheck the previously uploaded work, and for that I need to uncheck the toggle button. Once I uncheck it, the system would ask me whether the document need to be compared with other alternative sources. In case if you want the document to be compared with other alternative sources, you could select the level of sources, and once we have selected this, the next step would be to click on save and continue. And now the document is not being compared for similarity against the primary source. It is actually being compared with different sources, and hence similarity score has been recalculated from 100%. It has come down to 26%. So this is how the subject matter expert can uncheck your previously uploaded work in case if the document was compared with your previous version, and now the document can be downloaded or it can be shared with the concerned person, and a 26% report can be generated. Now the third one, and an equally important one, is deletion of documents, which can be done either by the Urkun coordinator of your institute or university, or by the support team. So in case if you wanted a document to be deleted permanently from the repository, you could send a request to the Urkun coordinator of your university or institute with the document reference number, or else you could send a request to the support team at support@egalactic.in with the reference numbers, and the documents could be deleted permanently from the repository. So these are the three ways by which we handle multiple submissions. Kindly be noted that the request would be entertained only when the request is sent by the concerned receiver. That means the person on whose account the documents were uploaded. Any request for deletion from the submitter side is not being accepted. So these are the 3 ways by which we handle multiple submissions. And with this, I would like to conclude for today. And in case if there are any queries, we could discuss them now. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be a part of e-Shodhyatra. Thank you so much.
Can we take some questions?
Sure, ma'am.
So the first question is, can we change the language after the registration process?
Yes, ma'am. The language can be changed after you have registered yourself. There's an option there in the admin portal. So you can have that changed later on.
Okay. There's one more question. An institution should have only one user ID irrespective of the different departments. Is it so?
No, ma'am. Basically, ma'am, it varies from institution to institution. If we talk about the e-Shodhyatra project, whereby access has been given to the universities and CFTIs, under that, ma'am, it has been clearly mentioned that faculty accounts can be created for all the faculty members of the concerned institution. However, if it's an institution which has subscribed to Urkund separately, in that case, it's your call. You can work with multiple accounts also. You can work with one account also.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, there was one more question in the first question itself.
There is a question for private colleges. How can they apply for registration, and is it free to use?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it's not a free tool. It's a paid software. And in case any of the colleges want to subscribe to Urkund, a request can be sent to support@egalactic.in or sales@egalactic.in, and the sales team would get in touch with you.
Thanks. So the submitter, you said there will be 2 accounts, right? One of the receiver and the other of the submitter.
Yes, ma'am.
The submitter in no way is able to view the report, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. The submitter is able to view the report only when the report has been shared through the receiver. The system in any case would not provide the submitter with the analysis report.
But the receiver can share the report with the submitter.
Ma'am, we have a share report option. So using the share report option, also the report can be shared with the concerned person, or else the link of the report can also be shared separately.
Okay, thanks.
I think this question is getting repeated, but I'll just ask, what is the acceptable percentage of similarity? This is actually nothing with Urkund as such specifically, but you can take up the answer.
Ma'am, if we talk about the thesis and if we talk about the UGC guidelines, it is less than 10% is acceptable. Howsoever, again, a detailed guideline has been given by UGC regarding what are the non-core areas and the core areas, whereby there are certain areas in which 0% tolerance policy is also there. So it would differ from you can say the paper, or maybe if it's a thesis, or from the university to university, institution to institution level also.
Okay. One more. What I would like to ask is, since you mentioned deletion of the document by admin.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Once we upload any kind of document for similarity check, is it that it gets added to the repository?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, that is how the system actually works, that when we upload a particular document, it is saved to the Urkund repository by default. However, the Urkund coordinator can delete the documents, or ma'am, so to make things a little simple, we have now started accepting the request from the concerned receivers also. If they send the details to us with the document reference numbers, ma'am, we can get those documents deleted within 1 working day.
Okay. Because what happens is that maybe PhD scholars who want to send something for publishing, and prior to sending it to the publisher, they might get it checked. So
Yes,
in that case, when they send, it shouldn't come as already, I mean.
So ma'am, in that case, we can get those deleted.
Okay.
The request can be sent either to you. Ma'am, as far as ICT is concerned, they can send the request directly to you. Otherwise, they can write to us, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
There is one question. Is there 30-day free trial option available?
Ma'am, no, we do not actually provide individual access. And as far as institutional access is concerned, ma'am, there are, I think, a 7-day trial period is there. But for that, I would request the concerned person to get in touch with the sales team.
And there is one question, why reports of similarities are different in different softwares? Like, how does the report in Turnitin and Urkund, why does it differ?
And the basic reason why there's a difference in the similarity percentage is because of false positives. So as I was mentioning in my presentation also, that Urkund actually avoids false positive report. For example, like let's say that I'm searching a 3-word phrase on Google, I would get millions of sources in which the similar content was there. But if we increase it, say, to 5-word phrase or 10 words phrase, you would see that number of sources starts decreasing. So that is a major reason between the similarity percentage as far as Urkund and other softwares are concerned.
So generic terms can be avoided.
Ma'am, generally the other softwares actually find similarity for 3-word phrases also. But as far as Urkund is concerned, the entire document is being scanned for similarity, and hence a true plagiarism picture is presented in front of you.
So when we submit an document, we receive an email saying that this document was submitted. So in that there is a link which says that please fill in your name so that we can link your name to the your email address, or there's another which says that please.
The exemption.
So that has anything to do with. Okay.
Ma'am, the second one is exemption 1. As I was discussing in my presentation also, in case if you wanted your document to be exempted, you do not want even a line or maybe a paragraph of your work to be visible to someone else later on. In that case, ma'am, the document can be exempted by clicking on the link in the confirmation email. So in that case, ma'am, even those parts of the document that were found to be similar with your work, so those parts would also not be visible to someone else.
So generally one should not avoid that, is it?
Ma'am, generally, if you do not want anyone to have a look into your work, ma'am, so in that case, you should be exempting your documents.
Okay.
Or also, if it is the draft work, that can be done, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And I see 2 more questions.
Yes, ma'am.
That is, how many broad disciplines are included in Urkund? So biological science, medicine, veterinary, agriculture, and so on.
Ma'am, basically, it is not bifurcated on the basis of the disciplines. The database is constantly. I would also answer the second question with this only, ma'am, how frequently Urkund team will add the new sources. So, ma'am, constantly the database is being upgraded every day. Thousands and thousands of documents are being added to the database. And like from all like disciplines, ma'am, we have these sources. The content is from all the disciplines. And basically, when we have uploaded a document, it is scanned against 3 sources. The first would be the internet content, anything that is available on the internet. The second would be the published material, research papers, journals, articles, etc. And third would be the Urkund's own archive only. So all the documents that were there in the Urkund repository, the system would be comparing the document against that particular repository also. And based on that, ma'am, a report would be generated.
And the next query, I think, is, are foreign universities also using Urkund?
Ma'am, that I've already answered, that we have more than 5,000 customers in more than 80 countries. So.
Thank you.
I think that takes care of most of the questions. On behalf of the ICT and VS College of Arts, Science and Commerce, I thank you for this exhaustive step-by-step presentation. I am sure that the participants would have found the presentation very, very useful. And now when they really get the reports in hand, they will be able to understand what each of it really means, and they can improve their writing and their research papers accordingly. Also their thesis, it will be a very good source for information, this presentation of yours. So thank you once again for a very wonderful presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Meghna ma'am and Madhvi ma'am specially for giving me this opportunity to take all of you through Urkun. Ma'am, in case if there are any queries, please feel free to get connected with us at support@egalactic.in.
Sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Dear participants, some instructions before we part for the day today. We have already sent the test, evaluative test 1 to all of you on mail, and also have put the link for the test in the WhatsApp group. Request all of you to complete the test by today midnight. We will be closing the test today. The results for the test will be announced before we release the next test. So after the course, that is maybe on Saturday, we will be able to release the scores, and then by Sunday we should be able to give you the next evaluative test too. And we again meet on Friday, 4th of December for our concluding day session of the e-Shodhyatra, same time at 2 p.m.